Chapter 16:25. Tianyun had anticipated that the heavenly god of luck would be able to pick out an 8th grade green spirit stone. The heavenly god of luck had already unleashed all of her power, so it would be impossible for her to be any worse than before. It's your spirit stone's turn now. Elder Sway, you took the huge spirit stone and quickly cut it. When the outer side was cut off, it immediately revealed a rainbow-colored section, and the details of the grade inside were revealed. Fire Spirit Stone, 4th grade. Water Spirit Stone, 4th grade. Earth Spirit Stone, 4th grade. All of the spirit stones on the table were 4th grade, and they were all revealed to them. 4th grade spirit stones were far inferior to the heavenly god of lucks. However, this 5-colored spirit stone was quite expensive. But now, they were comparing the grade, not the price. Furthermore, even if they were comparing prices, they would still lose out. Unless their grades were about the same, or their opponent was only 1 grade higher, there would be a massive disparity. I told you it's only 4th grade. Elder Sway, you shook his head. This was within his expectations. After seeing it so many times, he basically knew what was going on, so it was very rare for him to make a wrong judgment. Everyone else looked over and shook their heads. This was also within their expectations. This was how mediocre people were. They would lose for sure. She had chosen a very beautiful one this time, and it looked very big, but that didn't matter as the effect was right before their eyes. There was too much of a difference in grades, so the heavenly god of luck had won. You should have studied hard before coming to compete with me, the heavenly god of luck said expressionlessly. Even though she wasn't in charge of this place, there were some things that she knew quite well. She knew that this 5-colored spirit stone was quite good, but it was simply too difficult to obtain a high-grade one. No, wait a second. Tianyun smiled. Elder Sway, I already told you, you should continue to cut it, but this time, cut it toward the center. Tianyun pointed at the 5-colored spirit stone and gestured for Elder Sway to cut it there. But don't cut it so deep. Just cut it slightly to the side. Could it be that there are high-grade ones inside? Elder Sway furrowed his brows, but he still followed Tianyun's instructions and cut it down. At the same time, he cut it slightly to the side, and the entire 5-colored spirit stone was split into 2 halves. What appeared in front of everyone was a small, special spirit stone. It seemed to be a spirit stone that had fused together a large amount of energy. A special energy floated out just like that, causing them to tremble. This is an extremely rare Chaos Divine Stone, and it has just been formed not too long ago. Elder Sway said in shock, This is something that only very few people can find. Although it's only at the 6th grade level in terms of value and grade, it's already at the 8th grade level. When the 5-colored spirit stones condensed to a certain extent, they would turn into primal Chaos Divine Stones. However, it was extremely difficult to do so no one believed that there would be primal Chaos Divine Stones. Now, it had appeared. It was only at the 6th grade, which wasn't very high. However, in terms of value and grade, it could be said to be at the 8th grade. Wouldn't this be a draw? When everyone saw this, they were stunned. They didn't expect that Tianyun would find an extremely rare primal Chaos Divine Stone. They were all dumbfounded. This should be a spirit stone that all of you have completely ignored. No one has been willing to pick it up. I guess it's piled up in a corner, silently absorbing the spiritual energy around it. Over time, it will condense into a primal Chaos Divine Stone. Tianyun shrugged his shoulders and said, but it's only at the 8th grade level. So, this is a draw? They thought that it was impossible for a primal Chaos Divine Stone to appear, and its grade was relatively low. The mechanical guards needed a higher grade spirit stone to replenish their energy. If the grade was too low, it would be limited. Therefore, this type of 5-colored spirit stone was basically discarded in the corner, and no one would pick it up. Now, the one that Tianyun picked up was quietly absorbing spiritual energy, and thus condensing a piece of primal Chaos Divine Stone that surpassed most spirit stones. This was like a cultivator who was cultivating in silence. They usually appeared mediocre, but they would be able to amaze the world at a critical juncture. I lost. The heavenly god of luck shook her head and looked at Tianyun with a complex expression. I lost this time. In terms of value, that is indeed the case. However, in terms of rarity, it's even rarer than mine. If I continue to condense it, perhaps the effects will be even more astonishing. The heavenly god of luck admitted her loss without any hesitation. They were both at the 8th grade, but there was a difference in quality. The primal chaos divine stone was only at the 6th grade, but it was even more valuable. If she continued to condense it, it would definitely be of a higher grade. Hence, theoretically speaking, the heavenly god of luck had lost. Elder Luck has lost. This is unbelievable. Could it be that this outsider can see and even find primal chaos divine stones? It's very likely that he knows how to look at spirit stones. Otherwise, how would he know? Then this isn't fair at all. This isn't a contest of luck. It's a contest of how to look for spirit stones. They began to clamor among themselves, feeling like this was extremely unfair. Even Etienne could see through spirit stones. So how could there be a contest of luck? Silence. The heavenly god of luck signaled for everyone to quieten down. Even if he can see through spirit stones, he still wins. First of all, I was the one who requested this competition, and second of all, this is a test of his strength, not cheating. This is indeed not a contest of luck, but a loss is a loss. I have nothing to say. If Etienne could see through spirit stones, then this was no longer a contest of luck. The heavenly god of luck really couldn't see through spirit stones. It really was a contest of luck and experience. Even the heavenly god of luck had said this, so what else could they say? Indeed, I can see through spirit stones, so theoretically speaking, this isn't a contest of luck. Etienne stepped forward with a smile on his face. How about this? Let's have another competition of luck. How about that? Etienne knew that this would happen. After all, he had chosen spirit stones that were quite special on both occasions, so of course he would arouse suspicion. However, this was the only choice he could make. All of the other spirit stones were basically the same, and there was nothing special about them. Furthermore, he was purposely trying to establish a good relationship with the Fecta divine realm. They had been struggling to find spirit stones of a higher grade this entire time, and they had to cut them open every time, so it was quite troublesome. If Etienne were to help them, then things would be different. Another competition? Everyone looked at one another, and they immediately developed a better impression of Etienne. Chapter 16:26. Etienne didn't want to take advantage of Heavenly God, Heavenly God. After all, he didn't make this choice himself. Was he going to pretend that he didn't use his detection eyes? At the end of the day, the heavenly god of luck's luck was truly out of this world. He had thought that he would be able to win easily after knowing the answer. But who would have thought that the heavenly god of luck would still choose the spirit stone of the highest grade? He had also chosen the 8th grade spirit stone, so he had no choice but to choose the chaotic divine stone. Only then would he be able to win from the sidelines. In the end, he did indeed win, but everyone thought that he would be able to tell. Otherwise, how would he be able to tell that the chaotic divine stone was such a peculiar item? Of course, if he didn't admit to it, no one would be able to do anything about it. He could say that he had chosen the stone because it was big and beautiful. How could that not be an act of insane luck? However, he didn't say that. Instead, he admitted that he was able to tell. Etienne's straightforward admission made them have a good impression on Etienne. This was actually just one of Etienne's first moves. He wanted to show them that he was a straightforward and honest person. That's right, let's have another match. This is the final match, and the winner will be decided in one match. However, it has to be purely based on luck. I don't want to take advantage of you again. Etienne looked at the heavenly god of luck. What do you think, heavenly god of luck? I don't think it's appropriate. A loss is a loss, and I have nothing to say. The heavenly god of luck still believed that she had lost and didn't want to continue. The previous matches weren't very fair, so we need to have another match. That way, all of my friends will also be convinced of my superiority. How about that? Etienne proposed with a smile. That's right, Elder Luck. Let's have another match. Since he's already said that, then Elder Luck should accept his challenge. We admit that he's quite powerful, but this is a match of luck. That's right. Let's have a match of luck. All of the surrounding disciples began to persuade the heavenly god of luck to have another match to broaden their horizons. The heavenly goddess of luck was silent for a moment before replying. Then let's have a match. However, regardless of who wins or loses, the result will be decided according to this. The heavenly god of luck was adamant on this. She was adamant that she had lost, and she didn't want to change the result, even if they were to compete again. All of them wore resigned expressions, but they still agreed with the heavenly god of luck. No matter what, even if he lost, he would at least be able to win against this outsider in terms of luck. To them, the heavenly goddess of luck was their goddess of luck, as well as the goddess of the Fekta divine realm. How could they lose in terms of luck? Therefore, no matter what, he had to turn the tables, or at least turn the tables with his luck. Then, Elder Luck, I know of a place that is rather special. It really depends on luck to win. One of the disciples stood up and said, "It should be said that you can rely on strength and luck, but you can also rely on pure luck." Are you talking about the mysterious heavenly divine lake? At that moment, a disciple beside him suddenly interrupted. That's right, it's the mysterious heavenly divine lake. There were so many treasures at the bottom of the mysterious heavenly divine lake, and many of them were ownerless. However, as long as you're lucky enough, you can still find some excellent treasures. How about we use that as the basis for the evaluation? These disciples started recommending all at once. With just a slight mention, there was immediately a location for the competition. The mysterious heavenly divine lake. Tianyun shook his head. He didn't think that they would have to go to that place. However, after thinking about it carefully, he realized that it was indeed a good place to compete. All right, let's go to the mysterious heavenly divine lake then. The heavenly god of luck felt that it was a good place. Then, they headed toward the mysterious heavenly divine lake. Originally, there weren't many cultivators in the area, but now, there was a group of people gathered around. Tianyun and the heavenly god of luck stood in the center of the mysterious heavenly divine lake with a large group of cultivators observing their every move. Who would have thought that I would be back here again? Tianyun couldn't help but burst into laughter as he recalled what had happened. The heavenly god of luck was trying to make him fall into the water, but who would have thought that she would fall into the water instead? The heavenly god of luck blushed as she turned around and harumphed coldly. Then let's have a competition now. Let's see who can pick out the best treasure. How about that? There are many ownerless treasures below, as well as many damaged treasures. Some of them look intact on the surface, but their insides are actually extremely damaged. Some of them look damaged on the surface, but their insides are actually very good. I can't detect them with my spiritual sense alone. Only by touching them will I be able to sense what's going on. Tianyun looked around and found that there was really no problem with that. His detection eyes could tell what grade they were, but he couldn't tell what was going on with them. In other words, he couldn't tell what was going on with their internal injuries. This was indeed a fair competition. At the very least, he wouldn't be able to tell what was going on. No problem, let's choose this place. I really can't tell what's going on this time. Tianyun smiled. All right, are you going first this time? Or shall I go first? The heavenly god of luck asked. You go first. Ladies first as usual. Tianyun made an inviting hand gesture, indicating that she could begin. The heavenly god of luck didn't decline. It didn't matter who came first anyway. She immediately arrived at the area beside the bridge and raised a hand, upon which the power of luck was quickly unleashed. Moments later, the piles of weapons began to tremor. This was the same as the spirit stones from before, but they were trembling even more violently this time, and some of the weapons flew directly toward the heavenly god of luck. However, the heavenly god of luck didn't catch them. Instead, she evaded them with ease. There was no doubt that she was interested in any of the weapons flying toward her. Heavenly god of luck really is omnipotent. Even these treasures have chosen her as their owners. Tianyun's heart sank as he looked at the treasures flying toward him. These treasures were either already owned, or they hadn't been attracted by the heavenly god of luck. Not all treasures could be attracted by the heavenly god of luck. Everyone was then greeted by a miraculous sight. There were countless treasures flying toward the heavenly goddess of luck, all of whom were fighting to become her personal treasures. Other people probably wouldn't even receive such treatment even if they stood here for an entire day. All the heavenly god of luck had to do was stand here, and there were all types of treasures for her to choose from. Chapter 16:27. This is the one. The heavenly goddess Luck gripped her long sword tightly and swung it through the air, upon which a bright, silver sword projection flashed through the air. The sword projection appeared to be quite mundane and mundane. The entire sword only had a touch of silver on it. Other than that, there was nothing special about it. Be it the decoration or the material, there didn't seem to be anything special. This is the Silver Moon Divine Sword, someone suddenly exclaimed. Clearly, he had a deep impression of this divine sword. After shouting it out, the other cultivators exclaimed one after another. It was obvious that they had also thought of this Silver Moon Divine Sword. It really is the Silver Moon Divine Sword. This seems to be a divine weapon used in the Battle of God Emperors a long time ago, right? It was unknown how much evil spirit race blood it had been dyed with, and it had killed countless people. The Silver Moon Divine Sword was severely damaged at that time, but it seems like it has recovered quite a bit. If we look at it according to its grade, it should be a lesser, celestial god spiritual treasure. That's right. This isn't an ordinary lesser, celestial god spiritual treasure either. It's probably even comparable to an intermediate, celestial god spiritual treasure. The Lucky Elder is indeed the Lucky Elder. I never expected to find such a shocking treasure in this heavenly mysterious deity's lake. This heavenly mysterious deity's lake was equivalent to a useless deity's lake. Although it could restore treasures, the restoration speed was very slow. Most of the cultivators felt that the cost of repairing it was too high, or they were too lazy to repair it, so they abandoned it here. If he really liked it, or if it was really good, he would have taken it to be repaired long ago. Why would he leave it here to be repaired? To put it bluntly, it was a useless deity's lake. Most of the items here were ownerless. If someone wanted them one day, they could get them from here. However, it wasn't something that could be casually fished out. One had to obtain the approval of an elder before they could come over and fish for a bit. I can't take more. I can only take one, no matter how one looked at it. The treasures discarded here were all treasures obtained from countless battles in the past. Their grades weren't low, and the blood energy they carried wasn't weak either. It was pretty good to use in battle. The fact that Heavenly Goddess Luck was able to obtain the Silver Moon Divine Sword was already quite impressive. If it were any other cultivator, it would already be quite impressive if they could even obtain a Heavenly Venerate Spirit treasure. Most importantly, some of them were stained with murderous aura. They wouldn't just casually recognize someone as their master. Those who came here to choose treasures had to have sufficient strength. Otherwise, even ownerless treasures would not be easily subdued. The Silver Moon Divine Sword is almost fully repaired, and its overall condition is good. Its grade is equivalent to a lesser, celestial god spiritual treasure. The Heavenly Goddess of Luck was very satisfied with this Silver Moon Divine Sword. She then looked at Tianyun and said, "This is the treasure I have chosen. However, if you want to subdue these high-grade treasures, you will need a higher cultivation base. Your cultivation is slightly low. Even if you have a heavenly deity spiritual treasure, you won't be able to subdue it. How about this? As long as you can subdue an upper Empyrean spirit treasure, and the quality isn't low, then it's considered your win." Etienne's cultivation base was only at the intermediate Heavenly Venerate final stage. If he could surpass the Heavenly Luck God, then that would be insane. Heavenly God Spirit treasures were hard to obtain in the first place. In this garbage dump, to find one that was intact and of a high grade was even more difficult. After all, when he looked down, all he could see was a pitch-black mass. If he casually scooped it up, he really wouldn't be able to get any good treasures. He would really have to rely on luck to scoop up these treasures, unless he casually scooped them up and inspected them one by one. However, that would be breaking the rules. He would have to scoop up a decent treasure without inspecting it. Some of the treasures might be of a high grade, but the insides of the treasures were rotten beyond recognition, so they could only be judged as trash and couldn't even be considered treasures. This Silver Moon Divine Sword had almost fully recovered. In theory, it was a decent treasure, so it could naturally be considered a success. The heavenly goddess of luck's understanding immediately won the admiration of all the surrounding cultivators. Etionyun smiled and didn't say anything. He arrived at the place where the heavenly goddess of luck had been standing before and raised his hand in the air. The halo of luck within his body instantly erupted. Boom! An invisible force surged into the heavenly fate divine pond. Immediately afterward, countless treasures flew into the air like carps leaping through the dragon's gate. Such a massive force was even more powerful than the heavenly goddess of luck's. All of these treasures flew toward Etionyun one by one. However, he could only pick one treasure, so he was able to easily evade all of them without letting them fall into his arms. Everyone was dumbstruck upon seeing this. Why was this force even more powerful than the heavenly goddess of luck's? Usually, only those with heaven-defying powers would be able to attract these treasures to automatically acknowledge them as their masters. Only then would it be luck, which was the luck of picking a good treasure. After all, these treasures all had their own spirits. When they encountered a master with boundless potential, they would definitely want to immediately acknowledge him as their master. This outsider's aura is even more powerful than Elder Luck's. Is this still a heavenly venerate? When I stood here before, only a small portion of the treasures reacted. Most of them didn't react at all. What's going on? F***CK. I don't understand. They were all about to go crazy. Even the heavenly goddess of luck was dumbfounded. She had lowered her standards and allowed Etionyun to obtain a high-level heavenly venerate spirit treasure. Furthermore, the quality of the spirit treasure wasn't too bad, so he could defeat her. But judging from the current situation, even a low-level heavenly god spirit treasure would be no problem, let alone a high-level heavenly venerate spirit treasure. Etionyun ignored the gazes around him. His eyes scanned the surroundings to see if there were any treasures that were suitable for him. However, no matter how he looked, it seemed to be quite ordinary. He had to obtain a heavenly god spirit treasure no matter what, right? He didn't lack heavenly venerate spirit treasures, and he really didn't have a single heavenly god spirit treasure. Having a heavenly god spirit treasure to protect himself was quite a good thing. After waiting for a while, a white light suddenly emerged from the depths of the heavenly mystery divine lake. Immediately afterward, a fan flew toward Etionyun's face. Etionyun's eyes lit up, and he quickly grabbed the fan that was flying toward him. At the same time, he withdrew his aura, and the treasures flying around him fell back into the water. Everything returned to normal. Right now, he was holding a fan in his hand. This fan looked a little tattered, and the words and drawings on it weren't very clear. However, he could still make out some unique handwriting amidst the blur. I'll choose this fan. Etionyun didn't care about its damage. This fan gave him a very good feeling. It was very mysterious, and there was a special kind of energy revolving around it. Hence, even if it was damaged, he still decided to choose this fan. In terms of grade, this fan was equivalent to a mid-level heavenly god spirit treasure. Chapter 16:28. Everyone's eyes almost popped out of their sockets upon seeing Etionyun's choice of a fan, and it was a tattered fan at that. They had seen a lot of good treasures, and all of them looked very intact, so they had most likely been repaired. According to the criteria that the heavenly goddess Luck had mentioned, Etionyun had at least a dozen chances to defeat her. In any case, there were still a dozen or so upper heavenly venerate spirit treasures, but Etionyun didn't choose any of them. Instead, he chose a tattered fan. If the inside of the fan was severely damaged, then he would lose. Even though they didn't want the heavenly goddess Luck to lose, it would be far too arrogant for Etionyun to let go of such an obvious opportunity to win. How could they not be displeased with him for choosing something so unorthodox instead of such an arrogant choice? He had to win when he deserved it, not be so arrogant. He chose a tattered fan instead of choosing anything else. It looks like it's quite damaged. That's right. Even if it's a heavenly god spirit treasure, it's still a piece of trash after being damaged to this extent, right? That's right. He's too arrogant. He's quite powerful, but he's too arrogant. It looks like he's going to lose for sure if he chooses a tattered weapon. It doesn't matter even if he loses. Elder Luck said that she would lose regardless of whether she wins or loses. All of them were very displeased with Tianyun's choice. This is the Fecta Divine Fan. It was the personal treasure of our previous region lord. At this moment, one of the elders stared intently at the fan in Tianyun's hand, and his voice began to tremble. It really does look like the Fecta Divine Fan. It was the personal treasure of the previous region lord. It slew countless demon kings and was extremely damaged in the end. It looks like it's only been repaired a little bit. That's right, it should only be repaired a little bit. The previous region lord left it here to be repaired, so no one could find it. Who would have thought that it would be found by an outsider? Only they, the elders, knew what this fan was, and its significance was a bit greater. It was the personal treasure of the previous region lord, so it was at least an upper heavenly god spirit treasure. Such a treasure had an absolute significance. If they got their hands on it, even if it was trash, they would still treat it well. The main reason was because the significance of this treasure was simply too great. It was a divine artifact that had contributed greatly to the battle between god emperors. The Fecta Divine Realm had only survived because of this treasure. How could this not be significant? It wasn't just big. It was as if the previous region lord had come in person. A long time ago, someone wanted to find this fan and put it up for worship, but no matter how hard they searched, they couldn't find it. But now, it was in Tianyun's hands. Their eyes lit up, and they all wanted to snatch it. The Fecta Divine Fan has suffered serious internal damage. Fortunately, judging from its power, it should be an upper Empyrean spirit treasure. Tianyun inspected it and found that the internal damage was indeed serious. He did not know how long the Celestial Pearl Divine Fan had been in the mysterious Heavenly Divine Lake, but it had only been slightly repaired. It was obvious that the Tianji Divine Fan was too seriously damaged to the point of being beyond repair. However, if he were to throw it into the heavenly mysterious divine pond, he would be able to recover bit by bit. However, it would take a long time for him to fully recover. Right now, it had only been slightly repaired, but in terms of overall power, it was still equivalent to an upper Empyrean spirit treasure. It had not lost. I wonder if I've won this time? Tianyun looked at the heavenly luck goddess. The heavenly luck goddess smiled wryly. You've even brought out your realm-defining treasure. Even if it's trash, it's still my loss. This item was extremely rare, and it held great significance. Even if it was trash, it was still a win. This was a treasure that could not be determined by its grade. It could be said that none of the treasures in the pond could compare to it. Many elders had tried to fish it out, but they were unable to find it in the end, which was a great pity to them. Sometimes, they even wondered if the Celestial Pearl Divine Fan was in the pond. It looked like it really was in the pond, but they just couldn't find it. Now that the Celestial Pearl Divine Fan had been drawn out and given to Tianyun, it meant that Tianyun had the right to own the Celestial Pearl Divine Fan. There had been so many elders in the past, but none of them had been able to find a single fan. Now that it was in Tianyun's possession, didn't that mean that he had the right to own it? The fact that he possessed the personal treasure of the previous realm lord could very well imply something. Realm-defining treasure? Tianyun looked at the fan. He only felt that it was a very good fan, but he didn't know that it was a realm-defining treasure. If it could be repaired, the Celestial Pearl Divine Fan would become a higher, heavenly god spirit treasure. Especially after being bathed in blood for countless years, its power would be even more astonishing. However, it was far too difficult to repair. He had to soak it in water for a very long time before it could even recover a tiny bit. At the very least, no one else would be able to repair it. After all, it was far too difficult, so they could only take it back and worship it. However, Tianyun wasn't worried about this. He had the fusion system mode, which allowed him to fuse all types of heavenly venerate spirit treasures into the Celestial Pearl Divine Fan. When the time came, this Celestial Pearl Divine Fan could be repaired. He wasn't an idiot, so he wouldn't just take a random treasure. He would only take it if it was powerful. Furthermore, he didn't know anything about the Celestial Pearl Divine Fan, so he wouldn't even know that it had belonged to the previous realm lord. That's right, this is a realm-defining treasure. You still won this round. In terms of luck, I'm no match for you. The heavenly luck goddess shook her head with a wry smile. She had thought that she would be able to win this round, but she still lost in the end. Even though she had said that regardless of whether this round was won or lost, Etienne had still won. She still wanted to win the next round. Only then would she be able to redeem some of her dignity. Who would have thought that she would still lose in the end? Let alone in terms of strength, she had even lost to Etienne in terms of luck. Ahem, I was just lucky to have chosen the Celestial Pearl Divine Fan. Etienne consoled with a smile. Under normal circumstances, I would probably be far inferior to you. A loss is a loss. I'll fulfill my promise. I'll explain the situation to the Realm Lord, and he'll allow me to do so. The heavenly luck goddess was a little dejected. She had always felt that her luck was quite good, but she had lost to someone else. How could she be in a good mood? The surrounding disciples looked at one another. Who would have thought that the outsider would win in the end? How incredible! Who is this outsider? Are all the cultivators in the outside world so powerful? Just who is he? And what is he doing here? Regardless of who he is, he still defeated Elder Luck fair and square. Also, I'm going to look for his spirit stones. Chapter 16:29. Fellow cultivator, can you help us look at the spirit stones? We'll reward you handsomely. That's right. Come with us and help us look at the spirit stones first. There are too many spirit stones. We have to cut a lot of them every day, and many of them are useless. It's such a waste of time. That's right. Come and help us. We'll definitely reward you handsomely. All of the disciples had come to invite Etienne to help them look at the spirit stones so that they could pick out the higher-grade spirit stones. After all, the higher-grade spirit stones had to be used on the mechanical guards, while the lower-grade spirit stones could be used by the disciples for cultivation or to forge other things. Now, the priority was given to the mechanical guards, so the workload was quite heavy. It was quite difficult to pick out the higher-grade spirit stones first. They had been there for a long time, so they could only roughly identify the spirit stones, so their speed was still quite slow. That's not a problem. Etienne turned to the heavenly luck goddess with a smile. Don't be too dejected, heavenly luck goddess. You'll find out in the future that even losing to me was a fortunate thing. He chortled with glee before departing with the other disciples. The heavenly luck goddess faltered upon hearing this before stomping her foot violently. What the hell did he say? Losing to him is a fortunate thing? She bit down on her lower lip and stared at Etienne's departing figure before giving chase. I refuse to believe that he'll be able to identify all of the spirit stones. The competition between the two of them had concluded, and all of the surrounding cultivators had left. At the same time, they spread the news of what had happened here to inform everyone of what had transpired. It had to be said that this news had definitely shaken the entire Fectus sacred realm. The heavenly luck goddess had lost just like that, and she had lost in terms of luck at that. Many people were unable to accept this, but this was the truth, so they had no choice but to believe it. Etienne followed along and immediately began to help out. He scanned through the crowd and roughly understood the situation. What grade spirit stones do you want? Etienne asked. Grade 5, it's fine as long as they're all grade 5 or above. There are too many grades below the 5th grade. Some of them look like they are 5th grade, but when we cut them open a little, we found that they are actually 3rd or 4th grade. This has greatly increased our workload. They wanted to cry, but had no tears. The main reason was that their expenses were too high. They had to quickly replenish their supplies. If there was no time limit, they wouldn't be in such a hurry and could take their time. Spirit stones of grade 5 and above. Etienne took another look and said with a smile, Indeed, there are quite a lot of spirit stones below grade 5. Among the 10 spirit stones, there were 7 or 8 spirit stones within the 4th grade. How could this not be a waste of time? Although they could be distinguished with a single cut, they still needed to be cut, and it would take a lot of time. In particular, he couldn't cut them too fiercely, or they would be easily damaged. The larger the spirit stone, the better. It could not be destroyed, or it would lose a large amount of energy. Then we'll have to trouble you to help us, they pleaded, hoping that Etienne would be able to identify the spirit stones. At this moment, even the heavenly goddess Luck was watching from the side, trying to see how Etianyan was going to identify the spirit stones. She was unable to do so, no matter how hard she tried. Even the other elders were unable to identify the spirit stones. If they could identify the spirit stones so easily, they would have done so a long time ago. They wouldn't have asked an outsider like Etianyan to do so. They really had no choice but to hurry up and finish the work like this. Even Elder Sway was watching from the side, so it was quite clear just how difficult it was to identify the spirit stones. That's not a problem. Etianyan waved a hand with a smile, and a burst of special power enshrouded the area, sucking in one spirit stone after another before transforming them into a small mountain. These are all spirit stones above the 5th grade. You can have a look. Of course, I can't guarantee that all of them are correct, so please forgive me if there are any mistakes. So quickly, all of them were dumbstruck. He was able to identify the spirit stones so quickly. It had only been a short while, and he had already finished searching through the spirit stones. All of them then rushed over to cut through the spirit stones one by one, and they were immediately able to identify the 5th grade spirit stones. This is a 5th grade spirit stone. Mine is also a 5th grade spirit stone. Mine is a 6th grade spirit stone. All of them began to cut through the spirit stones in a frenzy, and they all let loose cries of surprise as they discovered that they really were all 5th grade spirit stones. There were no mistakes, and all of them were at least 5th grade spirit stones. All of them were astonished by this, and Elder Sway couldn't help but make his way over to Etianyan. Friend, as long as you tell us how to identify these spirit stones, we'll be sure to reward you handsomely. In other words, we'll agree to whatever reward you want as long as it's within the scope of our agreement. They desperately needed this kind of ability. There were countless spirit stones piled up like mountains here, and there were millions of them coming in every day. If they had this kind of identification method, then it would be far too easy. I'm very sorry about this. It's not that I'm hiding it, but it's completely based on my intuition and not on my eyesight. Etianyan shook his head. You guys can't tell, so how could I? It's completely based on a special kind of intuition. I felt that these spirit stones were of a higher grade, so I took them out. Etianyan definitely wouldn't say that it was the work of the appraisal eye. They didn't have the appraisal eye, so there was no point in saying it. Moreover, he really didn't have any identification method, so he couldn't say it even if he wanted to. If he could say it, he would definitely say it. Anyway, this wasn't a big secret, so it wouldn't matter if he said it. However, there was no way to impart it, so he could only choose to refuse. Relying on intuition. I've heard of this before, that some cultivators have extremely strong intuition in certain aspects. It's just like those martial arts geniuses. After exchanging a few moves with you, they'll be able to learn your moves. Elder Sway shook his head, feeling that it was a pity. Since they couldn't impart it to him, they could only give up. Since it's like this, then during this period of time, I hope that fellow Taoists can help me. Recently, this matter has been rather urgent. No problem, it's just a small matter. Etianyan patted his chest and laughed. All right, Elder Sway, you laughed loudly. I like that fellow Taoist is so straightforward. If there's anything, feel free to come and find us. If we can help, we will definitely help. Elder Lucky stared blankly at the side. It was such a difficult identification, but Etianyan was able to identify it. It seemed like she had really dug a big hole for herself by choosing the competition. I thought that other people wouldn't be able to see it, but it turns out that there are quite a few people with special abilities in this world. She thought for a moment. Wasn't her exceptional luck one of those abilities? Chapter 1630. Etianyan walked over to the heavenly god of luck and said with a smile, Heavenly god of luck, heavenly god of luck, heavenly god luck, you came as well? The heavenly god luck rolled her eyes. Didn't I say I was going to take you around the Fectus sacred realm? We're not even halfway there yet, so of course I have to take you around. So that's how it is. Thank you, heavenly god of luck. Etianyan said with a smile. He didn't refuse the heavenly god of luck. Thus, Etianyan followed the heavenly god luck to the other regions to check out the current situation in the Fecta sacred realm. There was a huge difference between the Fecta divine realm and the other divine realms. The planets in the Fecta Divine Realm were basically connected to each other. This was somewhat similar to Yuelong's Sacred Realm, but it was more similar. In particular, the planets were connected to one another using all types of machinery to form a passageway. Thus, even those with low cultivation bases would be able to traverse between different planets through this passageway. The main purpose of connecting the planets together was to unleash the most powerful attacks and defenses. This was definitely the most basic ability of the Fecta Sacred Realm. Aside from that, Etionyan could also see many mechanical guards patrolling this place. Even though there was a very powerful formation here, they didn't let their guard down in the slightest. These mechanical guards sure are strict. It's so safe here. Why aren't you willing to relax? Etionyan asked. Safe? There's no such thing as absolute safety, especially under special circumstances like this. The heavenly god Luck shook her head. What special circumstances? Etionyan was perplexed. You're a guardian, so I won't hide anything from you. The evil spirit race has been on the move recently, and they've been trying to find a way out of the Fecta Sacred Realm. As such, every entrance is guarded by powerful beings, which is why I'm stationed there. The heavenly god Luck said, the evil spirit race is all-pervasive, and they can even control cultivators before infiltrating this place. For example, they can contaminate their bloodlines and turn them into spies. Etionyan said in surprise, it seems like you guys are quite knowledgeable in this aspect. Of course we know that some of our disciples are under their control. Fortunately, we found out in time and didn't expose the situation here. The heavenly luck goddess chuckled coldly. Our security measures are of the highest level, so it's impossible to avoid detection. No matter the slightest change, we will be able to detect it immediately. This is amazing. Etionyan's impression of the Fecta Divine Realm had once again changed greatly. He never thought that it would have such a shocking ability. He thought back to Yuelong's Divine Realm. He didn't even know that most of it was being controlled. He didn't just wander around to check out the Fecta Divine Realm. He also wanted to see if anyone was being controlled. After going one round, he found that there were no problems. It turned out that there was already a detection method here. He is indeed powerful, but we still need to be on guard. The heavenly god of luck replied in a solemn voice. In any case, we have to be on our guard. The evil spirit race is not weak, and even though they have been weakened significantly, they are becoming more and more powerful. They must have used some sort of method to travel through the barrier to provide reinforcements. It was no surprise that the Fecta Divine Realm knew about the barrier. The Fecta Divine Realm was extremely knowledgeable, and they wouldn't be the Fecta Divine Realm if they didn't even know about this. Have you all checked it out? Etionyan asked. That's right, we've all checked it out. The barrier is completely unscathed, but they are constantly becoming more powerful. There must be some sort of special method that allows the evil spirit race to keep coming over. According to the records of previous battles, only a small portion of the evil spirit race managed to survive. However, they are becoming more and more powerful. Even if they have extremely powerful survival abilities, they shouldn't be this powerful. This was something they could not understand. Unless they were deep in the enemy's ranks, then things would be different. Do you know where they are? Etionyan's eyes lit up. He had the evil spirit puppets, so he could go over and investigate. Yes, the heavenly god Luck had no doubts about this. As the guardian of the barrier, Etionyan knew about these things. She then pulled out a star compass and marked out a location on it. This is the area, but it's only one of the locations. I'm not sure about the rest. Our enemies are extremely powerful, so we can't investigate them recklessly. Otherwise, we'll be discovered. All right. Etionyan took the star compass and committed this location to memory. That way, he would be able to directly search for them next time. This is the 5th grade Divine Realm? That's right. They're staying in the 5th grade Divine Realm, which is naturally the area closest to the barrier. In reality, the Fecta Divine Realm is located in the 5th grade Divine Realm, the heavenly god Luck explained. I see. Etionyan nodded. Are there any good divine realms in the 5th grade Divine Realm? Of course there are. I should say that most of them are good. They're all guardians of the barrier. However, there are a few who aren't very sociable. and some of them are accomplices who survived the divine Darch battle. The heavenly god Luck replied, "You're not going to join forces to eliminate all of the survivors of the divine Darch battle?" Etianyun was perplexed. They've all been bewitched, and if a battle were to break out, there would definitely be many casualties. Besides, we don't dare to do anything unless we're absolutely certain of our victory. If the evil spirit tribe were to take advantage of this situation, we would be in deep trouble, the heavenly god Luck explained. That's true. The heavenly god Luck then explained a lot of things to Etianyun. After listening to her, Etianyun had a much better understanding of the situation. This was far more detailed than the records he had obtained from the Three Realms. The records he had obtained from the Three Realms were also quite detailed, but those were all things from a very long time ago, so he needed more recent information. Why don't you know anything? Aren't you a guardian? You should know a lot, especially with the Divine Spirit Tribe as your backer. The heavenly god Luck had even mentioned the Divine Spirit Tribe. The Divine Spirit Tribe has already declined, and only a small portion of their power remains, which is far weaker than all of you. Etianyun shook his head. Hence, there's still a lot that I don't know. Thank you for your explanation. He was not surprised that she knew about the Divine Spirit Tribe. I see. The heavenly god Luck replied, "That's not important. We'll unite to fight against the evil Spirit Tribe." Her eyes were filled with righteousness. The heavenly god Luck was full of righteousness. Chapter 16:31. A thought suddenly occurred to the heavenly goddess Luck, and she stared intently at Etianyun. "You know so much. Are you going to investigate the evil spirit tribe?" She recalled that Etianyun had a puppet, so it would be a good idea to use that evil spirit puppet. "That's right. I plan to go there and investigate the situation," Etianyun replied. "Take me with you?" The heavenly goddess Luck's eyes immediately lit up. "No, that's too dangerous." Etianyun immediately refused. Even though he could take her with him, it wasn't very convenient. If he could go on his own, then he would definitely go on his own. Most importantly, there were some things that he couldn't let her know. Otherwise, it could easily lead to trouble. "My cultivation base is higher than yours, yet you're not afraid. So why should I be?" The heavenly goddess Luck pouted with displeasure. "It's not the same. If you come out to fight, you'll be exposed very easily. If that happens, all of my plans will be ruined." Etianyun looked at her and said, "So you just stay here. If you want to know more details, wait for me to come back." "I see." Heavenly goddess Luck couldn't hide her disappointment as she looked up at Etianyun and said, "Then can I ask you for a favor?" "What is it?" Etianyun asked. "Help me find an evil spirit tribe being. His name is Gokai." The heavenly goddess Luck's eyes were extremely cold. "Find him, then come back and report to me. I'll reward you handsomely." "Gokai? That's not a problem. Did he offend you?" Etianyun asked. The heavenly goddess Luck looked up at Etianyun, and Etianyun could see an extremely cold, killing intent in her eyes. "He killed my little sister." Etianyun fell silent. He didn't think that this would be such a heavy topic. After a while, he nodded. "No problem, I'll help you find him. What if I bring him back to you alive? If you can capture him alive, then I'll become an elder of your force forever, not just a guest elder, and I'll teach him my martial arts to help you develop your force." Heavenly goddess Luck promised in an earnest manner. "That's ruthless enough." Etianyun smiled and said, "No problem, I like this answer very much. It's decided then. At that time, I will definitely capture him alive for you to deal with." After saying that, they continued to wander around the area. As they continued to wander around, a guard flew over and said, "Elder Fortune, the Protectorate Lord wants you and this Lord to go together." So fast?" The heavenly god of Luck faltered upon hearing this. It had only been a few weeks, and the Fecta region ruler was already telling them to go back. She didn't ask any more questions and immediately flew back with Etianyun. When he returned to the Fecta Domain Lord's room, the Fecta Domain Lord was still circling around the ghoul puppet and seemed to be sizing it up. "Fecta region leader, what is it?" Heavenly goddess Luck asked. "You're back." The Fecta Domain Lord stroked his chin with furrowed brows as he looked at the ghoul puppet. This is so miraculous. No matter how I try to imitate it, I'm unable to completely replicate it. I can only imitate it to a certain extent, but there's always something missing. At this moment, Etienne discovered that there was an identical being beside him. It didn't appear to be any different, but there was a significant cultivation-based disparity, and its aura was also nowhere near as realistic as Etienne's. It's missing a soul, Etienne replied after a brief moment of thought. It's missing a soul? The Fecta domain lord faltered upon hearing this, before slapping his own head. I almost forgot about that. No wonder I felt like something was missing. It's a soul. But if I were to insert the ghoul puppet soul into it, wouldn't I be controlled by them? He fell into deep thought again, and no one knew what he was thinking. Etienne, who was next to him, was deeply shocked. He didn't think that the Fecta domain lord would be able to replicate the ghoul puppet in such a short time. There were some differences, but they were basically the same. Now, the only difference was the cultivation base and the soul. However, the soul was indeed very important, and there was also the blood energy within it. These 2 points were the only things that he felt were different. As long as these 2 points were taken care of, he could perfectly imitate the ghoul puppet. In fact, he could even say that it was no different from the ghoul puppet. Once he succeeded, he would be able to launch an absolute counterattack. The Fecta domain would immediately create a large number of ghoul puppets and attack the ghoul race together. No one would be able to tell who was on their side, and they would be able to lay an ambush there to gather more information. They would also be able to kill the ghoul race in secret. Unfortunately, these 2 points were the hardest to achieve. In fact, they could even be said to be the most difficult task to accomplish. Therefore, the Fecta domain lord was thinking about how to solve these 2 problems. Although he hadn't succeeded, it was already quite amazing that he could produce a 70 to 80% replica. If it were him, he definitely wouldn't be able to produce something as exquisite as this. The Fecta domain was indeed the Fecta domain. Its abilities far surpassed the other divine regions. How did you solve it? The Fecta domain lord suddenly turned to look at Etienne. But after he asked, he shook his head and said, "No, that's not right. This is a secret of yours. Pretend I never said anything." The Fecta domain lord answered his own question again. It was obvious that the situation had stumped him. "I'm almost done with this ghoul puppet. I can give it back to you now. If it wasn't yours, I would have cut it into pieces and studied every detail." The Fecta domain lord was still looking at the ghoul puppet reluctantly. If he had obtained it, he would have cut it into pieces. Etienne looked at the ghoul puppet that looked no different from being cut into pieces. Was there really a difference? Its limbs had been cut open, and many of its insides had been cut open. Then, the Fecta domain lord had repaired it. What difference did it make? However, he couldn't be bothered to care. The Fecta domain lord had already repaired it for him. There's no point in cutting it into pieces. This is the key point. How you deal with it is up to you. That's all I can say. Etienne had a meaningful look on his face. The Fecta domain lord's eyes flashed. Then he smiled and said, "I'll test it out in the near future. There are a lot of ghoul race clansmen here anyway." He chuckled. This old man looked like an old man, but his smile was very sinister. A chill ran down Etienne's spine. It looked like the ghoul race clansmen were going to be in trouble. Then about the alliance. Etienne had come here to form an alliance, not to stroll around. Chapter 1632. The heavenly god Luck was enraged by the Fecta domain ruler's abdication of responsibility. She didn't think that the Fecta domain ruler would be so irresponsible. However, after thinking about it, she could only accept it. The Fecta domain ruler had always been like this. He was always focused on research. All the other elders were like this as well. Many of the internal affairs were left to the other elders. To put it bluntly, they weren't very interested in power, and it could even be said that they couldn't be bothered to care about it. However, due to their cultivation base and reputation, they were able to sit in these positions. As such, this was a very common occurrence. If there were other elders around, the Fecta domain ruler would do the same. He directly threw this task to an elder at the side and let them handle these trivial matters. The Fecta domain ruler has always been like this. "Let me sign an alliance with you." The heavenly god Luck was very exasperated. It looked like the Fecta domain ruler wouldn't say anything even if she became a guest elder or an elder. As long as she could manage the affairs here well, she could do whatever she wanted. All right. Etienne couldn't help but shake his head as he watched the Fecta domain ruler continue his research. No wonder this place was so prosperous. They had always strived for perfection and were constantly researching all kinds of things. How could the Fecta domain not become stronger? They then signed an alliance agreement stating that the Fecta domain would not make a move unless it was absolutely necessary. They only did this because they didn't want to expose the Fecta domain. Etienne didn't think there was anything wrong with this. After all, they just had to sign an alliance agreement. At the very least, they wouldn't be enemies in the future. Instead, they would be close allies. After signing the agreement, the heavenly god Luck looked at him. I have some matters to attend to here, so I can't go to your faction for now. That's all right, we can talk about that later. There's no need to rush for now. Etienne smiled. If there's nothing else, it's time for me to go. Wait a minute. The heavenly god Luck took out a badge and handed it to him. This is the special badge that will allow you to enter the Fecta domain. Without this badge, you won't be able to enter. Remember, don't lose it. This is a very serious matter. Don't worry, I won't lose it unless I die. Etienne accepted the badge. This was the key to entering the Fecta domain, so there was no way he would lose it. This way, he wouldn't have to worry about taking a detour in the future, and he wouldn't have to go through the complicated passageways. Your luck is better than mine. How could you die? The heavenly god of Luck's expression gradually became serious. I'll leave the rest to you. Actually, if it's possible, I really want to go with you. We'll talk about it when we have the chance in the future. Etienne still refused to go with heavenly god Luck. It was best for him to do things on his own. After leaving the Fecta divine realm, Etienne immediately flew to the evil spirit race's distribution point. If he wanted to go to the evil spirit race's distribution point, he would first have to go to the 5th grade divine domain area. Actually, this was not difficult. There was no special barrier between the two, such as a special barrier or something that could not be passed through. From here, one would only need to fly for a relatively long time before they could enter the rank 5 god realm. His way back was also through the Temple of Luck, so he had to fly directly from the Myriad World Celestial Realm to the Grade 5 Celestial Realm. Along the way, Etienne began to study the Fecta Divine Fan on the Spirit Ship. This was the treasure of the previous Fecta ruler. Now, it was just a pile of scrap metal, and its former glory was nowhere to be seen. The Fecta Divine Fan is rumored to be able to predict the future. At the same time, it is extremely lethal. A wave of the fan can also create terrifying divine winds that can sweep through everything. Etienne was very interested in this thing, and he immediately began to repair it. He opened up the fusion mode and immediately tossed the Fecta divine fan into it. Then he tossed in all the heavenly venerate spirit treasures. All of this was to repair the Fecta divine fan. He wanted to repair as much as he could. After the fusion, the Fecta divine fan began to repair bit by bit, but the speed was rather slow. This was all because the heavenly venerate spirit treasures he tossed in were simply too low grade. They were all lower-level heavenly venerate spirit treasures, and the most powerful ones were intermediate heavenly venerate spirit treasures. The effects would definitely not be very good. If he wanted the best effects, he would definitely toss in heavenly god spirit treasures. But where would he get heavenly god spirit treasures from? He had killed so many heavenly gods, but not a single one had dropped. The main thing was that they had yet to refine one, so it was extremely difficult to get one to drop. As a heavenly god, it was really embarrassing to be unable to refine heavenly god spirit treasures. But the truth was that it required too many materials. All in all, it actually meant one thing: poor. Hence, those who could refine heavenly god spirit treasures either had a perfect collection of materials or were overflowing with wealth. In short, heavenly gods who saw heavenly god spirit treasures were definitely very powerful and not easy to deal with. Although the grade was a little low, it was still repaired bit by bit. The Fecta Divine Fan quickly began to restore its original appearance. The original frame of the Divine Fan still had many broken parts. Now, it was being repaired bit by bit, and the same was happening to the fan surface. It was being repaired rapidly, and its grade was also gradually increasing. Finally, when it was successfully restored to a lower-level heavenly god spirit treasure, its appearance was basically repaired, and it had some of its original effects. It was originally an upper-level heavenly god spirit treasure, but now it was only a lower-level heavenly god spirit treasure. Most of its functions definitely had not been repaired. Fortunately, it seemed that it had been repaired by almost half, and the overall effect was quite good. Almost all of the lower-level heavenly venerable spirit treasures and middle-level heavenly venerable spirit treasures have been used, and I've only barely recovered to a lower-level heavenly god spirit treasure. It's really difficult. Yun shook his head and smiled bitterly. If he continued to use it, he would really be poor. No wonder those heavenly gods couldn't refine it. The materials needed were too many. If he hadn't killed many heavenly venerables, he really wouldn't have been able to fill this gap. When he held the Fecta Divine fan tightly, he felt a warm and jade-like feeling. It was clearly a fan, but it gave him the feeling that it was a piece of jade. He gently fanned it, and the divine seal on it began to flash. A ray of light flowed along his palm and toward his head. With a flash of light, he immediately saw images. Then, he quickly stretched out his hand and put away the Fecta Divine fan. Then, he flew out of the spirit ship and continued to fly forward. A moment later, he saw a spirit ship flying over. Upon closer inspection, it was a group of evil spirit race powerhouses. As expected, I met them. Chapter 1633. The legendary Ursi Divine Fan could predict in advance. Now Yin could immediately sense it. He could predict about half an incense stick of time in advance. However, he could only deduce what he would encounter in half an incense stick of time, and he couldn't speculate what others would encounter. Unless the Ursi Divine Fan was given to them to use, they wouldn't be able to deduce it. This was already quite heaven-defying. It meant that when fighting with others, he could constantly deduce their attack methods. Wasn't that heaven-defying? The answer was indeed quite heaven-defying. Every time he attacked, he would have to predict it. After all, as Yin broke the other party's attack method, the other party would definitely change it immediately. This meant that predicting the situation in half an incense stick of time in advance would be ineffective. The future could be known, but under Yin's interference, it would immediately be changed. No matter what, this Ursi Divine Fan was truly a divine fan to Yin. It's a human powerhouse. Swallow him. There were many evil spirit race powerhouses on the spirit ship. There were several Empyrean-level powerhouses and one Empyrean-level powerhouse. They shuttled back and forth unscrupulously, and their activities became even more ordinary. This made Yin feel that something was about to happen. Their activities weren't that frequent before, but they had become more and more frequent recently. This meant that the battle between the god emperors was truly about to descend. Even if the evil spirits hadn't resurrected, they all began to move crazily. Either they were carrying out a rescue plan, or there was another extremely powerful existence on the level of evil spirits. Following that, this group of evil spirits quickly rushed over. Two of the evil spirit Empyreans rushed over and surrounded Yin. They opened their bloody mouths, wanting to suck Yin dry. Both of them were at the upper Empyrean level, so it was definitely more than enough to deal with Yin's middle Empyrean level. However, Yin smiled. When they attacked, he had already disappeared, causing them to pounce on empty air. What's going on? Where did he go? After they missed, they looked at each other in dismay. They didn't know what had happened. Such a big living person had disappeared in front of them, just like that. The key was that they hadn't even sensed him before he disappeared. Just as they were confused, an evil spirit race rushed over from afar. Their gazes turned cold as they locked onto him. When he realized that it was an expert of the same race, the vigilance in his eyes quickly disappeared. I was chasing after a human just now. Did you guys find him? The evil spirit race that flew over anxiously asked. He is very strange. He often disappears, and even if we want to catch him, we won't be able to. We saw it just now. It suddenly disappeared. It's a bit like teleportation, but this kind of teleportation is very strange. We didn't sense anything at all. They shook their heads. Now that they had completely lost all clues, they didn't know how to pursue. Forget it. Let's go back and ask the Lord. What about you? What mission are you on? Me? I completed my mission a long time ago. Originally, I wanted to go back and report, but who knew that I would see a human brat? He wanted to chase after me, but he slipped away right in front of my eyes. The upper Empyrean evil spirit shook his head. Since you've completed the mission, come with us. After all, you'll have to move out immediately after you return. Heavenly Lord Evil Spirit said, right now, everyone is mainly carrying out this mission. It's the same for everyone, especially those with higher cultivation. All right, I'll go with you to carry out the mission. The upper Empyrean Evil Spirit said. After the upper Empyrean Evil Spirit finished speaking, the corner of his mouth curled up into a strange smile. He was not the real evil spirit race, but Etianyun. Etianyun did not kill them all. It was very easy to kill them, but it was meaningless. He wanted to know which area this group of evil spirit race wanted to go to and what mission they wanted to do. Thus, after attracting their attention, he quickly disappeared and pretended to be an evil spirit race that had rushed over to kill them as a perfect disguise. Following them back to the spirit ship, the leader of the evil spirit race said, Lord Ao Yuan, the human brat suddenly disappeared just now. We were completely unable to find his whereabouts. He must have used some sort of treasure to leave. This is a fellow race member who just happened to pass by and said that he would carry out a mission with us. They were very respectful, and Etianyun also pretended to be very respectful. The evil spirit race was extremely strict about ranks, and it could even be said to be harsh. The lower ranks had to have absolute obedience to the higher ranks, so they had to be very respectful. Heavenly God Ao Yuan looked at them coldly and nodded. Forget it. There are many cultivators like this who rely on treasures, so there's no need to care about them. Anyway, it won't be long before they all become our slaves. He clenched his fists tightly, and his eyes were filled with scarlet light, as if everything was under his control. Etianyun's eyes flickered, but he did not say much. As they continued to fly, Etianyun asked around and soon found out what their mission was. Previously, he said that he had just completed the mission and was preparing to return to the headquarters, which was a good cover. Before he returned, he naturally would not know what his current mission was. Their current mission was very simple, which was to set up a teleportation portal, which was set up in many areas. If they encountered any cultivators along the way, they would, of course, kill them. Setting up a teleportation portal, Etianyun immediately knew what they wanted to do. They were going to set up all kinds of teleportation portals so that the evil spirit race could teleport over in one go and achieve the effect of a surprise attack. The area that they set up this time happened to be near the Heaven Cultivation God territory. Without a doubt, the Heaven Cultivation God territory was one of the areas that they wanted to overthrow after setting up the teleportation portals. Apart from that, he also learned that most of the evil spirit race had gone to the major areas to set up teleportation portals. The main areas were at the Heaven Cultivation God territory and Yuelong God territory. The other areas were also set up. It could be said that they had locked onto the entire 4th grade God territory, and they were probably going to surround and annihilate them. As for what their goal was, they did not know. All they knew was to set up the teleportation portals. The only one who knew the details was Heavenly God Ao Yuan. However, looking at Heavenly God Ao Yuan's expression, it was impossible for him to get any information out of him. If he went to ask, he would probably be slapped in the face and told to just carry out the mission. There was no need to talk so much nonsense. I hope they will go back after setting up the teleportation portals. Etianyun wanted to follow them back to the distribution point. It would undoubtedly be much easier if he followed them back. He did not even need to look for anything, and he would be able to find the hidden distribution point. The information given by the Fecta God territory was more general. It said that it was this area, but he really did not know the details. Chapter 1634. Etianyun followed them. Soon, they came to an area near the Heaven Cultivation God realm and started setting up teleportation arrays in those barren areas. They first took out a black crystal and embedded it in the ground. Then, this special black crystal began to seep into the planet. In a short while, the area became pitch black and not a single blade of grass grew. This was not an awakening crystal, but a special energy used to set up the teleportation array. After spreading it, they quickly engraved the teleportation divine seal on it. It did not take long before a special teleportation array was easily engraved on it. On the surface, it looked like it had been polluted. However, no one would care about such a situation. Anyway, it would be pitch black at most. Who would have thought that it was a teleportation array? All right, let's go to the next place. Heavenly deity Ao Yuan, who was watching from the side, nodded and continued to fly to other planets with his subordinates. Tianyin looked at this place silently. He moved his feet slightly between the spirit ships, and a special energy seeped deep into the ground and destroyed the teleportation array. He had been watching from the side as they engraved the teleportation array, so he immediately knew what the flaw was. A light touch was enough to destroy the teleportation array. He would not let these guys succeed. Therefore, he destroyed as many teleportation arrays as they set up. Everything was done very covertly, so they did not notice it at all. Originally, as long as one did not try to teleport these teleportation arrays, one would not know whether there was a problem or not. They were all on the spirit ships now, so they definitely did not know that the teleportation arrays had been destroyed. Then, they continued to fly to other areas and set up teleportation arrays one by one. Tianyin destroyed them one by one. If they knew that the teleportation arrays they set up were useless, they would definitely vomit blood. Lord Ao Yuan, there is a planet in front with many cultivators on it. Should we devour it? One of the heavenly venerable evil spirits asked. Isn't that obvious? Kill them all. This is one of the important areas. No matter who is on it, destroy them all. Heavenly deity Ao Yuan said sternly. No problem. Their eyes lit up. This time, they would be able to have a sumptuous meal again. On the planets in front of them were a bunch of itinerant cultivators. There were high and low cultivation bases, and the highest cultivation base was only a lower Empyrean. This meant that what they were about to face was absolute suppression. The itinerant cultivators who stayed inside had no idea what would happen to them. They were all either cultivating or discussing something. Tianyin sat at the side and looked at them quietly, not saying a word. When they got close, their group of Empyreans flew out, rapidly erupting with their strongest power. After releasing a powerful force, it formed a pitch-black barrier that enveloped the huge planet. What they needed was to devour all of them and not let any fish slip through the net. On a planet, there were at least hundreds of millions of lives. If they were to be completely devoured, it would be really terrifying. However, they were not satisfied with this at all. On the contrary, they were somewhat displeased. Their cultivations are so low, and their bloodlines are also very weak. They must not taste good. Isn't that for sure? It's about the same as what we swallowed before. The taste is really terrible, but it can still fill our teeth. Don't be so demanding. After some time, there will be more delicious things to devour. That's right. There are many geniuses in those powerful forces. The taste will definitely be better. They all swallowed their saliva. Thinking about being able to devour cultivators with relatively high cultivation bases and talent, their imaginations ran wild. They weren't too interested in the hundreds of millions of lives in front of them, but it wasn't a problem to casually devour them. This was the difference between races. In their eyes, this was a pile of food. What's going on? At this time, the cultivators on the planet below all saw this strange scene. A terrifying black screen appeared, and a powerful devouring force sucked them up. They couldn't struggle at all. It was as if they were being lifted up. Besides constantly twisting their bodies, they couldn't do anything else. Some were immediately devoured after being sucked into the black fog. At the same time, they flew towards those Empyrean evil spirits, preparing to be devoured. There were at least a dozen Empyreans presiding over this place. It was too easy to deal with them. Even if there were rogue cultivator Empyreans inside, facing the powerful bloodline power of the evil spirit race, they could only resist in vain. They couldn't be sucked up for the time being, but if the others were completely devoured, they wouldn't be able to escape either. Evil spirit race, it seems to be the evil spirit race. What's going on? The evil spirit race actually appeared here. Ah, hurry up and run. Where are you going? This place has been sealed off and there are barriers everywhere. There's no way to escape. Their faces were filled with fear. They couldn't escape even if they wanted to. They could only be sucked up bit by bit. Some of them forcefully fixed themselves to the ground, but very quickly, even the houses were sucked up. These cultivators were unable to escape the fate of being sucked up. This group of idiots, they still think they can break free and escape? How laughable. They mocked the struggling rogue cultivators, but the more they saw the struggling rogue cultivators, the happier they felt. They liked to see these rogue cultivators constantly struggling. Only by looking at their expressions of despair would they feel good about devouring them. Buzz! At this moment, a cold light flashed over. The smiles of this group of Empyreans stiffened, and suddenly, they were cut into several pieces. In the blink of an eye, several Empyreans were beheaded, their heads exploding with a single spear strike. After killing several Empyreans in a row, the effect of their great formation was immediately weakened by half. Those who were originally sucked up now all fell back to the ground. This was not the end. A cold light was getting faster and faster, crazily harvesting the lives of these evil spirit heavenly venerables. They were unable to stop it at all. They only saw a cold light, and then they lost consciousness forever. In less than a moment, the great formation almost collapsed. The many rogue cultivators below could only see a cold light flickering. What's going on? Did that ray of cold light save us? They stared blankly at the cold light. Accompanying this cold light was a silver moon in the air, and in the end, it froze in the air. At this moment, they finally saw this person's appearance clearly. It was actually a handsome young human. He saved us, he saved us. Chapter 1635. Etienne crazily harvested the lives of many heavenly venerate evil spirits. To him, as long as it was an existence of the same level, it could be described as a harvest. No one could stop his attack. As long as it was a heavenly venerate, whether it was an upper-level heavenly venerate or a super upper-level heavenly venerate, it did not matter at all. Even if it was a super heavenly venerate or a super heavenly venerate, they were still suppressed by him. After all, under the powerful crazy damage mode and the suppression of the title, all heavenly venerates could only kneel in front of him. In the blink of an eye, 5 or 6 heavenly venerate evil spirits were killed. The speed was so shocking that the heavenly venerate evil spirits could not see it at all. After a whistling sound, they all dodged, not daring to face it head-on. Etienne would definitely not let them succeed. With so many lives, he could not just watch as they were harvested. Although he wanted to go back with them, there was no need to watch as countless lives were killed in front of him. He only needed to kill most of them and let some of them escape, including his evil spirit puppets. And human, hand over your life. Heavenly deity Ao Yuan roared. 10 arms spread out behind his back, and a pair of wings appeared on his back. He directly used the strongest power of his awakening and attacked Etienne. He did not want to see his subordinates die one by one. If they all died, then his mission would fail, and he would never allow it to fail. Therefore, he directly used the power of his awakening, wanting to quickly kill Etienne. It seems that heavenly gods can all awaken with the awakening crystals. Etienne looked at heavenly deity Ao Yuan. He had also taken out the awakening crystal to awaken and directly used the strongest power. Originally, he was only a low-level heavenly god, but after the awakening, his combat power skyrocketed, and he was almost at the level of a middle-level heavenly god. Such powerful power made the hearts of the many itinerant cultivators below tense up. This evil spirit race is so strong. I hope he doesn't lose. If he loses, we are finished. Yes, don't lose. If he wins, I am willing to work like a slave for him. All the itinerant cultivators below were praying. They did not want to die in the hands of the evil spirit race. That would be too useless. However, there was a huge difference in their strength, so they could only choose to accept their fate. Now that a savior had appeared, how could they not be excited? Just when they thought that Onion would be in for a tough fight, the 5 giant dragons swooped in and swallowed Onion whole. They were all dumbfounded. None of them knew what had happened. Was Ao Yuan killed just like that? Not only had he insta-killed heavenly god Ao Yuan, but his remaining energy also continued to bombard the other evil spirit tribe cultivators, turning them into dust one by one. Dead. They were all dumbfounded. Such a powerful Empyrean deity, who had awakened his own power, was defeated by Onion in one move. Not to mention them, even the other evil spirit races couldn't help but feel terrified. Their boss had been killed in an instant. Those with weaker cultivations were naturally cannon fodder. Run! The rest of the Empyreans did not say a word and turned to flee. Even the evil spirit puppets that pretended to attack also fled with them. Onion definitely wouldn't let them all escape, so he immediately chased after them and killed all the escaping evil spirit heavenly venerables one by one. Only the 2 evil spirit heavenly venerables did not continue to chase after them. One of them was naturally the evil spirit puppet, and the other was the real evil spirit heavenly venerables. Without any difficulty, these powerhouses were ruthlessly killed, which made Onion feel extremely carefree. He had earned so much experience that he was in a good mood. However, his mood became even better when he thought that he was about to stroll around the evil spirit race's headquarters. Upper heavenly venerables, I'm coming. Onion smiled and flew towards the direction of the evil spirit puppet. He didn't stay here any longer. Everything happened suddenly, and it also happened suddenly. Many of the cultivators below were dumbfounded as they looked at the situation above. That hero left just like that? That's right. We haven't thanked him for saving us. But it's fine, I've already remembered his appearance. When I see him in the future, I'll be able to repay him. One of them had a recording crystal in his hand. There was a battle scene on it, and Onion's appearance was clearly recorded. It was difficult not to see it. You even recorded it? Give me a copy. I'll give you money. I want one too. That way of fighting was really too straightforward. Maybe if I took a few more glances, I might even be able to break through. I want one too. One by one, they rushed over, wanting to copy the recording crystal. Not only did they want to remember their savior, they also wanted to see the shocking battle just now. To spread the news of Onion's situation so crazily, Onion did not expect this. At the same time, the evil spirit puppet and one of the evil spirit heavenly venerables continued to escape. They quickly hid in one of the planets. Too terrifying. I've never seen such a powerful human race before. Haven't humans always been the lowest level of existence? How did they cultivate such powerful strength? This evil spirit heavenly venerables was panting. At the same time, he was constantly paying attention to the situation outside the planet, afraid that Onion would catch up. I'm not sure about that. It's really too strong. Looks like we can only go back and report this matter. The evil spirit puppet also pretended to be panting by the side. There were quite a few injuries on its body. In order to be more realistic, it definitely had to suffer some injuries. Right? We can only go back and report this matter. But we have to see the situation clearly now. If we're discovered, we won't be able to live either. This evil spirit heavenly venerables was really afraid. He squatted here and kept hiding. Onion could only hide by the side. Little did he know that Onion had already entered the evil spirit puppet's body long ago. Previously, he entered the void through the power of the void and quietly returned. After hiding for a period of time, it was roughly several weeks before this evil spirit heavenly venerables dared to show their heads. Onion, who is next to him, thinks that he is too cautious. If the other party really chased over, they would be finished without needing to hide for so long. The longer they hid here, the more dangerous it would be. You shouldn't be able to catch up. Let's leave right now, and let's go. The evil spirit heavenly venerables immediately brought Onion and flew away from here. After leaving far away, he said with a smile, "Looks like the two of us are really lucky, or perhaps our escaping skills are better. Otherwise, we would really be dead for sure. Yeah, really lucky. Yin sneered at the side. If he did not let him go, would this guy still be alive? Chapter 1636. Yin followed this Empyrean evil spirit and flew back. Along the way, this Empyrean evil spirit was sneaky and didn't dare to fly directly. When they met other cultivators, they immediately brought Yin to hide. It was obvious that they were afraid. He didn't expect this Empyrean evil spirit to be so timid. His previous arrogance was completely gone and turned into a look of fear. We have to be careful. We can't continue to be discovered. Otherwise, we won't be able to bring back what happened here. Empyrean evil spirit seemed to feel Yin's gaze and felt embarrassed. However, he still covered up for himself so that he wouldn't be so embarrassed. That's right, we still have to be careful. Yin could only nod in agreement. No matter what the other party thought or did, he couldn't do anything about it. He could only let it do whatever it wanted. In any case, as long as he could bring him to the evil spirit race branch, there wouldn't be any problems. In fact, as long as he was by his side, no matter who came, he could escape with Empyrean evil spirit. No matter what, he had to escape with him. Otherwise, how could he enter the evil spirit race branch so easily? He followed this Empyrean evil spirit and flew all the way. When they returned to a safer area, they began to speed back. After rushing for several weeks, they finally arrived at that area. We're finally back. Without a high-grade spirit ship, the speed of returning is too slow. Empyrean evil spirit shook his head. If they just relied on flying, their speed was really slow. Yin muttered in his heart. If he hadn't been hiding, he would have returned here long ago. And it's good that we can return safely. Yin said from the side. Right. This way, we can return and report the situation over there. Empyrean evil spirit nodded and pointed ahead. We're finally back. Let's hurry over. Yin looked ahead. There was nothing in front of him except for a few scattered planets. Without a doubt, it was something similar to a transmission array. It seemed that the evil spirit race was more cautious now and wouldn't show themselves easily. They weren't as arrogant as Fan Yu's side or as arrogant as the outer divine regions. They were all hiding here and there, but recently their movements had become more frequent. Shortly after, they landed on one of the planets. There was also a pitch-black land here, and there was no doubt that the black crystal was buried underneath. Heavenly Lord Evil Spirit brought him to that area and began to transfer energy to the ground beneath his feet. A moment later, black light began to emit from below, enveloping them within. Yin could clearly feel that this was a special energy, which was the evil spirit race's unique dark spirit force. After infiltrating the place, it dragged them in. If it wasn't for the evil spirit race, there was no way to use this transmission array, so it was absolutely safe. However, they didn't know that there were things like evil spirit puppets, which could be said to be impossible to guard against. After the teleportation, Yin felt that he had entered a strange space. It was pitch black all around, and there was nothing at all. Fortunately, he could still see Empyrean Evil Spirit, which meant that there was no problem. Heavenly Lord Evil Spirit raised his foot and walked forward. Yin followed him out, and after passing through a layer of black membrane, he officially arrived at the outside space. The first thing that entered his eyes was the pitch black and disgusting space. The surroundings were still pitch black, and the sky seemed to be filled with an oily substance that filled the entire sky. Whether it was the sky or the ground, they were all filled with a thick layer of material, making them look rather disgusting. There was no sunlight here, nor was there any fresh air. The only thing he could smell was a disgusting smell that floated in the air. Right in front of him were countless strange-looking buildings. There were quite a few evil spirit races living here. Other than that, he didn't see any other races. Only the evil spirit race was here. There really are a lot of evil spirit races. Yin swept his gaze across the area. There were many evil spirit races living here, and their cultivations were not low. At a glance, the lowest cultivation level was at the Earth Monarch level, and the highest was at the Sky Sovereign level. As for the Empyrean God level, they probably lived inside. At the very least, there was a strange tower in the distance, which should be where the heavenly god-level evil spirit race lived. The heavenly god-level evil spirit race was the highest level of existence, so they would naturally live in different areas. Heavenly Lord Evil Spirit brought Etion directly to the center of the tower. The guards at the entrance did not stop them. As an Empyrean-level evil spirit race, their status was still relatively high, so it was naturally impossible for them to stop them. When they reached the third floor, Heavenly Lord Evil Spirit's body began to tremble, and his eyes were filled with fear. Preparations are almost here. I wonder if Lord Gokai will punish us. Heavenly Lord Evil Spirit's voice trembled. Gokai! Etienne's gaze turned cold. He didn't expect to meet the heavenly god of luck so quickly. The heavenly god that he was chasing after had been found so quickly. It was really easy. Heavenly Lord Evil Spirit brought Etienne into the great hall and said nervously to the guards, "Help me inform Lord Gokai that we have something important to discuss with him." Wait a moment. The guards nodded and immediately went in to report. After a while, they came out and said, "You may enter." They followed the two of them in. As soon as they entered, they saw Gokai sitting on the throne at the front with a frown. There were also several heavenly venerates kneeling in front of him. It was unknown what they were reporting, but it made Gokai rather unhappy. Apart from that, there were also several heavenly venerates at the side who were half-crippled. They were lying limply on the ground with pitch-black blood flowing all over. They weren't dead, but they looked a little worse for wear. No wonder they were so afraid of Gokai. With such a violent personality, coupled with the fact that they had failed their mission, how could they not be punished? Re-reporting to Lord Gokai, our mission failed. Lord Ao Yuan is also dead. After they entered, they also knelt down together. With the difference in levels, they definitely had to kneel to talk. Heavenly Lord Evil Spirit reported everything in detail. At the same time, he kept raising his head to observe Gokai's expression. That's the gist of it. I don't know where that human came from, but he is really too strong. I have never seen such a strong human before. Trash. Empyrean God Gokai's palm slapped out. The power of the void sent the evil spirit puppet and Empyrean evil spirit flying away. Just like the other Empyreans that had been sent flying away, their bodies were torn apart by this palm. Unable to resist at all, the evil spirit puppet was almost smashed in half. Fortunately, its physique was shockingly strong. Otherwise, it would really have been smashed in half. One had to know that its body still had the evil spirit's pearl. Of course, even if it was smashed in half, it would not expose the evil spirit's pearl. The evil spirit's pearl was hidden in its head. Unless its head was smashed, it would be fine. Chapter 1637. It was not unexpected that Gokai had such a fiery temper. It should be said that the evil spirit tribe was like this. They were extremely ruthless when dealing with their subordinates. Beating them up was considered letting them off lightly. If it were not for the fact that they still had value to be used, Gokai would have smacked them to death long ago. Your physique is not bad. Are you new? Gokai looked at Etienne's side. The other heavenly venerables had all been smacked to death by him. Only Etienne's side suffered some superficial injuries at most. Yes, Lord. Etienne stood up with difficulty. His body had been smacked hard, and his situation was not much better, especially when he had no defense at all. If he had defended himself, the situation would have been much better. At least, he would not have been in such a sorry state. However, if he had defended himself, he would have died even more miserably. The other heavenly venerables had all suffered this palm directly. Whoever blocked one palm strike would receive 10 more palm strikes. Therefore, it was better for them to be hit obediently. No one dared to resist at all. You do have some potential, Heavenly God Gokai said coldly. It's just that you'll be severely punished for failing this mission. Lord Gokai, we failed the mission. That was something that could not be helped. A human who came out of nowhere is really powerful. Even Lord Ao Yuan was killed. Heavenly Venerate Evil Spirit also got up, and his injuries began to recover rapidly. He then knelt in front of Gokai. A mission failure is a failure, no matter the reason, Gokai said coldly. Heavenly Venerate Evil Spirit felt extremely wronged. How could they deal with such a powerful opponent? Our mission is not considered a failure. We have set up many teleportation arrays. There are only 1 or 2 areas that have not been resolved. The human powerhouse is really powerful. His overall strength is at least at the level of a middle-level heavenly deity. Otherwise, heavenly deity Ao Yuan would not have been killed instantly when he awakened. As he spoke, he directly displayed the battle situation at that time. In fact, he had released the memories in his mind and formed a picture for them to see. After Gokai and the others saw it, their expressions became solemn. Tianyun's fighting posture was presented in front of their eyes. After reading it, Gokai said in a low voice, "I didn't expect it to be him. How could his power be so strong?" "My lord, you know of his existence?" Empyrean Evil Spirit was puzzled. He didn't know anything about this. "He's on our clan's blacklist, and it's an absolute blacklist at that. He's ranked in the top 5 on our list of targets to kill. I didn't expect him to appear here. How strange." Gokai replied in a solemn voice. Not only has he destroyed Fan Yu's forces, but he's also raised the forces of the other divine realms to the ground, making it impossible for the puppet forces to rise. Recently, he's even forced Heavenly God Sky Cloud into retreat, thereby foiling his plans. Gokai had thought it was some human, but he didn't expect it to be such a blacklisted existence. Tianyun, who was at the side, almost laughed out loud. He didn't think that he would be so famous and have such a deep influence in this aspect. It was even more hilarious that he was ranked in the top 5 on the blacklist. However, this made him even more curious. He was only ranked in the top 5, so he was very curious about who the others were. "Strange, we didn't receive this kind of information." Empyrean Evil Spirit smiled bitterly. "This is information we received recently, and we were just about to announce it. It's normal that you don't know about it," Gokai said in a low voice. "Since you encountered him, it's normal that you were all wiped out. However, I didn't expect him to let you two go. This is strange." Gokai looked back and forth between the two of them, trying to figure out something from them. "You want to chase after someone else?" And we ran quite fast. It should be said that our concealment skills are quite good, so we managed to escape. Actually, the most important thing was that we wanted to come back and report this matter. Empyrean Evil Spirit even found a few excuses for himself. He was a coward who was afraid of death, and he even said that he wanted to come back and report this matter. Gokai waved his hand and said indifferently, "All right, there's no need to say anymore. I won't pursue this matter this time. You guys go and have a good rest and prepare for the next mission." Yes, Your Excellency." This Empyrean Evil Spirit was like he was granted amnesty. After quickly getting up and bowing, he turned around and left. Tianyun followed and quickly left together, not staying here for too long. Although Gokai was here, it was not easy to move around. It was too conspicuous here. If there was any rustle of grass in the wind, it would be extremely easy to be discovered. Hence, everything had to be prepared in order to do things properly. After going out, this Empyrean Evil Spirit gritted his teeth and said, "He even made us go down and rest. If not for this palm of his, would we be injured? It's simply a little rest, and we'll be able to proceed with the next mission. Now, it's great. We really have to take a good rest." He had just come out and immediately started complaining. "It's fine. Let's find a place to rest," Tianyun suggested by the side. "All right, rest well first before talking. I have to say, we're really lucky. I didn't expect that the other party is even a top 5 existence on the blacklist. I reckon that our escaping skills are really pretty good," this Empyrean Evil Spirit said with a smile. "Top 5 on the blacklist. Who else is ahead of it?" Tianyun asked. "You don't know?" Empyrean Evil Spirit said doubtfully. I've always been in close seclusion and don't know much about the outside world." Tianyun smiled. Empyrean Evil Spirit did not suspect anything and directly explained. If it were before, the top 4 are respectively Yuelong Region Lord, Fecta Region Lord, Cloud Piercing Region Lord, and Sword Edge Region Lord. They're all extremely troublesome existences. Basically, they all wish that they could get rid of immediately. But it's because they're too hard to get rid of. That's why they became blacklisted. Speaking of which, that guy can still be fifth. His level looks like he's only an Empyrean, but when he erupts, even celestial deities are insta-killed. Truly terrifying. However, we still escape from that kid's hands. It doesn't feel like much either. Etionyan was silent by the side. Very soon, Empyrean evil spirit brought Etionyan to one of the closed seclusion chambers. Let's rest here. Next time we'll set off together to do a mission. This Empyrean evil spirit did not think too much and brought Etionyan to this secret chamber. After closing, this Empyrean evil spirit was just about to meditate when a bright light flickered and a terrifying force nailed him to the ground. Is that so? Don't feel like I'm much? Etionyan's face appeared in front of him. By the time he reacted, everything was already too late. You? This Empyrean evil spirit turned his head to look at the evil spirit puppet at the side and then looked at Etionyan. It seemed like he already knew what was going on. Chapter 1638. By the time the heavenly venerable evil spirit knew what was going on, it was already too late. He was immediately blasted into smithereens by Etionyan. At least before he died, he could still know the truth. He could die in peace. After killing the heavenly venerable evil spirit, Etionyan sat down to meditate and recover the body of the evil spirit puppet. If he wanted to move well, he naturally had to recover the body of the evil spirit puppet first. Otherwise, it would not be easy to move. When he had more or less recovered, he got up and walked out. After opening the secret cultivation room, he closed it again. No one would know that the heavenly venerable evil spirit had died here. Etionyan had done all of this very skillfully and would not leave any clues. After coming out, he directly headed to the center of this area. He wanted to gather information from all aspects here and know what their mission was. However, after searching for a while, he really found an area similar to the mission hall. After he entered, he saw many evil spirit race people accepting missions here. This was no different from the other divine realms. They all accepted some missions to complete, but the missions above had been changed to other types of missions. Capture a genius with outstanding talent, regardless of race. Capture a talented female cultivator and limit it to the snow fox race. Clean up all life on a planet. These missions were all hunting or capturing missions, and they all looked extremely cruel. To the evil spirit race, they were no different from demon beasts, so they naturally wouldn't have the slightest bit of sympathy when hunting them. On the cultivator's side, they would indeed hunt demon beasts, and the treatment was about the same. However, cultivators would still be companions with demon beasts, and they would even become companions. The evil spirit race was one, and the rest were all enemies. Even if they became his subordinates, they would be absolute slaves. If he wanted to sacrifice them, he could sacrifice them at any time. Etionyan's gaze quickly landed on the most important mission, setting up the teleportation formation. Setting up the teleportation formation was the most important mission. Although it was not particularly compulsory, this mission was relatively simple and the rewards were relatively generous. Thus, most of the evil spirit race people chose to do this mission first. However, the requirements were quite strict. One had to be at least an Empyrean or above. Those below this level could not accept this mission for the time being. Setting up a teleportation formation in the enemy's territory was undoubtedly a difficult task. Therefore, one's own strength could not be too weak. Otherwise, it would be a waste of time and resources if they were discovered and killed by cultivators not long after they left. As expected, this mission is the priority now. Etionyan's gaze turned cold. When he looked over, he saw a guard walking towards him. Sir Gukai has summoned you. This guard was extremely respectful. His cultivation was lower than Etionyan's, so he had to be extremely respectful. Lord Gukai summoned me? Etionyan was startled. He didn't expect Gukai to summon him. However, he didn't think too much about it and immediately nodded. All right, take me there now. First of all, he couldn't refuse. He couldn't refuse a summon from someone of a higher level than him. In addition, he also wanted to see what this Empyrean god Gukai wanted to say. It just so happened that one of his goals in coming here was to capture this fellow alive. Soon, they arrived at the three-story pagoda that Gokai had been in. Gokai was still sitting on the throne, looking down at him from above. There were no other Empyreans in the main hall. There was only Gokai. Sir Gokai, Etienne called out respectfully. Your strength seems pretty good. In the future, you will be my guard and work exclusively for me, Gokai said indifferently. That would be my honor. Etienne's eyes lit up. He hadn't expected that Gokai would be so stupid as to actually recruit him. He had originally wanted to find a way to get close to Gokai and then finish him off without anyone noticing. Now, he didn't even need to find a way. Gokai had delivered himself to his doorstep. It seems like you have more or less recovered. Now, come with me to a place. Gokai stood up and led him outside. Etienne didn't ask anything and followed Gokai out. Under Gokai's lead, they walked to the top of the pagoda. After walking for a long distance, they finally reached the top of the pagoda. Sir Gokai, the guard guarding the door, stepped aside respectfully. Gokai nodded and led Etienne inside. After entering, Etienne discovered that there was actually a group of evil spirit deities inside. They were all meticulously dressed up, and their appearances were extremely handsome. They looked incomparably demonic. The more they evolved, the more handsome they became, and they didn't look as disgusting as before. However, he could still tell that they were the disgusting evil spirit race. There were all kinds of music playing inside. It was like a grand ball. Many Empyrean gods and Empyreans were tasting all kinds of blood-colored wine. It was probably brewed from the blood of some race. Other than that, there were also all kinds of delicacies. In the eyes of the evil spirit race, what Etienne saw was a pile of disgusting chunks of meat and even eyeballs. Without a doubt, these were all cultivators that had been captured and made into a feast. They laughed and chatted as they tasted the delicacies here. Everything seemed to be happy and harmonious, quite cheerful. Etienne swept his gaze over, but his heart sank. He never thought that there would be so many experts here. There were close to 100 Empyrean gods, not to mention Empyrean gods. There were even more of them. However, Empyrean gods were all guards. To put it bluntly, they were just followers. They didn't have the qualifications to enjoy the delicacies here, and could only follow behind their masters. This was the difference in status. Other people could eat, drink, and play, but Empyrean gods could only stand behind. Of course, there were also many Empyreans who ate and drank as they pleased. They were not guards, but existences with status. As for some guards, they could still eat and drink. Their masters would naturally be more lenient toward them if they made a lot of contributions. What a big difference! Those with lower cultivation have to complete the mission, while those with higher status can enjoy the feast here. Etienne thought as he looked around and saw a familiar face, Heavenly God Torrential Cloud. He didn't think that even Heavenly God Sky Cloud would be here. He held a red wine cup in his hand, and he slowly poured the wine into his mouth. He didn't appear to be happy in the slightest. Instead, he wore a displeased expression. Chapter 1639. Etienne's gaze constantly swept across them, wanting to memorize all of them and see how many experts there were here. Especially to see who had a higher status, for example, how many existences at the same level as Heavenly God Torrential Clouds. If I can clear this place in one go, I'm afraid I'll be able to break through to the late Heavenly God level, right? There were so many experts here. If they were all killed, the experience points would definitely be explosive, and he would be able to level up continuously. However, if he really exploded, the first to die would definitely be him, and not the surrounding evil spirit race. Among them, there were no less than 10 upper heavenly gods, each of them incomparably powerful, comparable to Heavenly God Torrential Clouds, and even stronger than him. In this kind of situation, if he were to casually explode, the first to die would undoubtedly be him. Later, follow me closely, don't run around. If you act recklessly, be careful that you die here. Gokai warned. Follow me properly. I'll bring you to see the feast here. It'll be beneficial to you. Yes, Lord Gokai. Etienne nodded, feeling a little suspicious in his heart. He didn't know why Gokai brought him here. Could it be that it was just because of his strong physique, and he felt that he was not bad, so he brought him here? When he continued to follow Gokai, he immediately knew what was going on. In the center of this feast, there was a martial arts stage which was undoubtedly used for martial arts. As for who would be sent up, there was no need to guess. It would definitely be the guards. This made Tianyin immediately understand why Gokai had brought him up. It was because he wanted to be a fighter. That was why he had brought him up. As expected, these guys are all selfish. If I didn't bring them any benefits, how could they possibly let me come up? Tianyin snorted coldly. Gokai brought him to a long table at the side, where he chatted with the other heavenly gods. They were all chatting about all sorts of things, and there was nothing about the mission at all. The things they discussed were all trivial matters, such as which family's princess, which family had a genius, what treasure they had found, or what race they had caught. As for work matters, they basically wouldn't discuss them at all. He came here to enjoy himself. There was no need to find trouble for himself. Tianyin was just standing at the side. Not to mention eating and drinking, he couldn't even drink a mouthful of soup. He could only stand at the side. However, he really didn't want to eat these disgusting things. He just wanted to paste these things on their faces. In fact, he wasn't the only one. The other guards were also watching from the side, not daring to say anything. Their duty was to stand guard here and do nothing else. Tianyin stood at the side obediently, waiting for his mission. However, he didn't just stand there like an idiot. Instead, he continued to survey his surroundings, paying particular attention to Empyrean God Tower Cloud. Empyrean God Tower Cloud. I didn't expect that after hiding in the Empyrean God realm for so many years, you wouldn't even be able to retrieve the evil spirit's pearl. You really are a failure, the nearby Empyrean God Val spirit said mockingly. Clang! Empyrean God Tower Cloud crushed the wine cup in his hand, and he glowered at him with a cold expression. If you think you're so powerful, then go take it for yourself. The Empyrean God is still lying there. If he wakes up again, he'll probably kill you with a single slap. The Empyrean God that was mocking him had similar cultivation bases. If he were to face the same fate, he would definitely be beaten back. If it were me, I wouldn't dare to expose myself so quickly. The Empyrean God chuckled coldly. He hadn't tried it yet, so he could say whatever he wanted. Umph. You'll know what's going on when you encounter that strange little brat. Empyrean God Tower Cloud couldn't be bothered to say anything else. Oh, are you talking about that human cultivator who's ranked 5th on the blacklist? The Empyrean God Realm cultivator sneered. I'm not trying to criticize you, but you can't even handle a human cultivator. You've really tarnished the reputation of our evil spirit tribe. No matter how strange he is, if you can't handle him, then you can't. If it were me, I would definitely be able to do better than you. Is that so? Then go if you can. Empyrean God Tower Cloud said coldly. After saying that, he ignored them and continued to drink his wine. In any case, he had indeed failed. As such, he would naturally be ostracized by everyone and would no longer be considered a meritorious contributor. Tianyin shook his head. It looked like this was the case in every region. Those who had performed meritorious deeds would be praised by everyone, but those who had failed would be ostracized by everyone else. Just as he was continuing to observe the situation, a female, evil spirit tribe cultivator passed by, and Tianyin stared intently at her. She was carrying a tray of fine wine and all types of food, and she noticed Tianyin's gaze. She turned to look at Tianyin with a smile, but didn't say anything. Tianyin continued to stare intently at her, trying to glean something from her. She seemed to have sensed Tianyin's scorching gaze, and she turned to look at him with a smile. She even crooked her finger, indicating for him to follow her. Tianyin turned to look at Gokai. It seemed like he couldn't be bothered with them. Generally, as long as they didn't participate in eating and drinking, it was fine to walk around. After thinking for a moment, Tianyin quickly followed her. The female evil spirit led him to the corridor outside, and at the same time, she looked at him with a smile and said, "What, are you interested in me?" She even struck a strange pose, trying to make herself look more beautiful so that she could attract Tianyin more. Of course I'm interested in you, Etianyun said with a smile. I'm also very interested in you. Come here. The female, evil spirit smiled sweetly and led him to a room. After closing the door, the female, evil spirit quickly wrapped herself around Etianyun and exhaled a sweet fragrance from her mouth. She looked very tempting, but in reality, sharp claws grew out of her hands, and she was about to stab Etianyun's head. Etianyun grabbed her arms and pushed her away. He said with a faint smile, "What do you want to do?" Such sharp claws made one shudder. If one were to be ruthlessly scratched by them, they would be torn into several pieces. What else? I like to do this. If I can leave a few marks on your body, it will be even more exciting. Her eyes were like silk, and everything about her was so tempting. All right, stop pretending. You must be the younger sister of the heavenly god of luck. You've hidden yourself to this extent, as expected of someone from the Fekta divine realm. Etianyun immediately saw through her true identity. Chapter 1640. Etianyun was able to instantly tell that this female, evil spirit tribe being was the heavenly luck god's little sister in disguise. No one could escape his detection eyes, unless they possessed an extremely high cultivation base or a higher cultivation base. He would be able to see through them with a single glance. This female, evil spirit tribe being was essentially the heavenly luck god's little sister. Her name was Heavenly Misfortune God. That's right, one was luck, while the other was misfortune. However, it wasn't that her luck was bad. Instead, it was that she was able to unleash an aura of misfortune, thereby inflicting misfortune upon her opponent. However, if she were to unleash too much of her misfortune, her luck would also become very poor. Compared to the heavenly luck god, she had far too few benefits. The heavenly luck god could still provide him with very good opportunities, but it was very difficult for the heavenly misfortune god to obtain any good opportunities. Unless she extracted her opponent's luck, she wouldn't be able to enhance her own luck. Generally speaking, most cultivators' luck was about the same. Unless there were some who defied the natural order, the amount of luck that could be extracted was relatively small. It had to be said that the parents who gave birth to these two sisters were really powerful. They possessed two extremely unique constitutions, which was quite strange. He wanted to see just what these two sisters' parents looked like. Of course, that wasn't the main point. The main point was that the heavenly misfortune god wasn't dead. The heavenly luck god had thought that her little sister had been killed, but she was still alive and well. Furthermore, she was hiding here as a perfect spy. The heavenly misfortune god didn't have any evil spirit puppets. Instead, she had modified her own body and absorbed the energy of the evil spirit tribe, thereby transforming herself into an evil spirit tribe being. This was very realistic, and unless one delved deep into her body to study her, there was no way to see through her disguise. This was undoubtedly the ability of the Fekta divine realm. This extremely peculiar ability allowed her to modify her body to create a perfect disguise. Of course, as a maid, she was only allowed to casually walk around the area. If she were to face an elder, and if she were to be probed deeply, she would definitely be done for. However, she was still wandering around in this banquet. I don't even know what you're talking about. The heavenly misfortune god scolded. I don't know anything about the heavenly luck god's little sister. Don't spout nonsense. She had a seductive look on her face and did not immediately admit her identity. She continued to pretend to be the evil spirit maid. However, deep in her eyes, killing intent was already surging. She was ready to fight at any time. Etianyun knew that she would not immediately admit his identity. His figure came out of the evil spirit puppet and said to her, "There's no need to hide it. I'm one of you. This is a puppet that I made myself. Just like you, I snuck in." What? The heavenly doom god was astonished upon seeing Etianyun. She sized up Etianyun, then looked at the evil spirit puppet beside him, and was momentarily stunned. After a long time, when he confirmed it, he said in shock, "This is the evil spirit puppet you made?" "That's right, it's the evil spirit puppet I made. Your sister asked me to avenge you, or to find out about Gokai's situation. I didn't think that you would still be alive. You have no idea how sad the heavenly luck god is right now. If it weren't for the bigger picture, she would have come here to exact her revenge. Tianyun shook his head. This heavenly misfortune god really didn't know what to do. If the heavenly luck god went crazy, she would be harming her sister. Big sister. The heavenly misfortune god shook his head. It's not that I don't want to go out, it's just that I can't. Even though my disguise is perfect and most people can't see through me, I'm still quite lacking. At the very least, I can't pass through that teleportation formation with my current body. I see. Tianyun faltered slightly upon thinking about it. Even though the heavenly misfortune god had done a very good job, it wasn't absolutely perfect. There were still some details that she hadn't taken care of, which was why she couldn't pass through the teleportation formation. He thought for a moment, then said, "So, you lured me here to kill me, and then use my blood or something else to continue to modify your body so that you can pass through the teleportation array?" "That's right," the heavenly misfortune god said in a solemn voice. "There's no other way. However, now that you have such a peculiar evil spirit puppet, I don't think there's a need to do something so disgusting." Her eyes lit up as she spoke, and she stared intently at the evil spirit puppet, trying to glean something from its body. As she stared at it, she even began to pinch it here and there, trying to glean something from it. "It's so perfect. I couldn't see through it at all, and I thought it really was a powerful being from the evil spirit tribe. How did you do this?" She immediately turned her attention to the evil spirit puppet. Tianyun shook his head. "You really do resemble the Fecta region lord. You've seen my father?" The heavenly misfortune god turned to him. "What?" Tianyun was dumbstruck. "That old man who doesn't care about his appearance is your father?" "My father is indeed a little unkempt, but he's still very smart, much smarter than anyone else." The heavenly misfortune god wrinkled her nose. She was a little displeased with Tianyun. It was quite clear that she revered her father very much. Tianyun was completely dumbstruck. He wanted to ask who their parents were, but he didn't think that the Fecta region lord would be their father. He didn't refer to him as father either, so he had thought that they were just subordinates. No wonder he was so powerful. He had a powerful backer. "All right, you are indeed very smart." Tianyun looked at her with a smile. "In any case, it's good that you're fine now. Hurry up and hide in here, and we'll get out of here together. I've been gone for so long, and it'll be troublesome if Gokai comes looking for me." He dragged the heavenly misfortune god into the evil spirit puppet's spatial pocket as he spoke. The heavenly misfortune god looked around before letting loose cries of amazement. "This is so miraculous. Even my father couldn't create something like this, but you did. Hurry up and tell me. I'll reward you handsomely." "There's no need for that. I haven't even told the Fecta region lord, so why would I tell you?" Tianyun smiled. "Furthermore, this is a highly confidential matter, so I can't tell you. However, your father has a rough idea. I'll ask him when I get back." "My father has a rough idea?" The heavenly misfortune god's eyes flashed. As expected of a father and daughter pair, their personalities were quite similar. "That's right. Let's go out for now." Tianyun controlled the evil spirit puppet to leave. He had only just left when a guard arrived. "Master Gokai has ordered you to go back. What are you running around for?" the guard yelled. This was one of Gokai's guards, and he had naturally come to find Tianyun. "I'm just wandering around here. I didn't come up. I'm just walking around." Tianyun casually made up an excuse. Chapter 1641. The guard was extremely displeased by Tianyun's actions, and he snapped. "Didn't Master tell you that you can't wander around? You can wander around wherever you want. Doesn't that mean you can go to all the other places?" "How insolent! I don't even know how Master recruited you. If you get into trouble, even Master is going to be dragged into it." The guard was very displeased with Tianyun. Tianyun's reckless behavior was one thing, and the fact that he had been recruited as a guard right away made them even more displeased. They had all worked very hard to become Gokai's guards. Tianyun had charged in halfway and even became their companion, which made them very displeased. "I'm very sorry. I won't do it again." In order to avoid trouble, he could only choose to apologize. The guard didn't say anything else after hearing Yi Tianyun's apology. He had thought that Yi Tianyun would be stubborn, but it looked like he couldn't be bothered to say anything more. On the way out, Yi Tianyun turned his head to look at Heavenly God Doom next to him and said, "By the way, how did you escape? I heard from your sister that you were really taken away. I used my power of misfortune to escape, so I was quite lucky." The Heavenly Misfortune God explained, "If it weren't for that, I would have almost been unable to escape. In order to hide myself, I could only choose to modify my own body. However, I don't have to modify my own body anymore. It's so disgusting to modify my own body into that of the evil spirit tribe." She wanted to modify her own body back, but after thinking about it, she wasn't in a hurry to do so. "So be it, I'll think about it when I get back. Perhaps I'll even have a chance to appear." The Heavenly Misfortune God's cultivation base was not weak. She was a lesser heavenly god, and she had the ability to deceive most of the evil spirit tribe, so she might really be of help. That depends on the situation. There's indeed no rush. Yi Tianyun didn't know when he would be able to use her, but there was no harm in keeping her around. Under the guidance of the guards, Yi Tianyun returned to the main hall. When Gokai saw him return, he stared at him coldly and said, "Didn't I tell you not to run around? Master Gokai, I'm very sorry. I just couldn't help but wander around this place." "There won't be a next time," Yi Tianyun apologized. "There better not be a next time." Gokai was furious. He wanted to slap Yi Tianyun to death right there and then. As a leader, he hated subordinates who disobeyed his orders the most. If they didn't listen to orders, what was the point of keeping them around? I really should have signed a slave contract with him. Gokai had forgotten to sign a slave contract with Yi Tianyun. He had only brought him along temporarily, so he didn't think too much about it. Who knew that so many problems would occur as soon as they were brought up? Fortunately, they didn't go too deep, or else he would be blamed. Yi Tianyun shrugged and obediently waited at the side. Due to his mistake, it was naturally not his turn to eat and drink. On the other hand, the guards at the side were able to taste the delicacies here, and they did not forget to provoke Yi Tianyun. It was as if they were saying that this was the result of messing around. Yi Tianyun could not be bothered with them. To them, these were great tonics, but to him, they were extremely disgusting. No matter how much they gave him, he would not eat a single bit. As time passed, more and more experts gathered here. They were all chatting with each other, not knowing what they were waiting for. Just as he continued to wait, he suddenly heard a sharp voice. "The evil emperor and the empress have arrived." Following the sharp voice, everyone turned their gazes towards the door. Yi Tianyun narrowed his eyes. No wonder they had been waiting here all this time. So they were waiting for the evil emperor and the empress. The evil emperor and the empress of the evil spirit race meant that they were the highest level existences here. So far, the rulers of the evil spirit race were the two of them. As long as they were killed, the evil spirit race would become a group of dragons without a leader. Of course, it was just a thought. With so many experts here, how could he make a move? Moreover, their levels were definitely not weak. Especially the evil emperor, he was probably at the level of an upper heavenly god. After the announcement, the expressions of all the evil spirit race became serious. Their gazes all looked towards the door in front of them. The entire place became extremely quiet, to the point that even a pin drop could be heard. Following that, a handsome and demonic evil spirit race walked out from the door. He walked with a majestic gait and a faint smile on his face, but he gave everyone a formless pressure. The moment he appeared, he had already increased the pressure on everyone present. There were no footsteps, but it was as if he was stepping on their chests, making them feel exceptionally heavy. This was the evil emperor of the evil spirit race. His cultivation was at the late stage of the upper heavenly god, and he was incomparably heaven-defying. A dense evil aura spread out in all directions, especially the huge black crystal on his forehead, which seemed to contain a terrifying amount of energy. Yi Tianyun could feel the pressure from the evil spirit race. It was the strongest evil spirit race he had ever seen. If he were to fight with the evil emperor, he dared to say that the evil emperor would only need to use a single finger to instantly kill him. Following closely behind was a petite girl. Her face was filled with a tender aura, and she looked extremely cute. She was an extremely cute little girl. Other than her luxurious clothes, her biggest selling point was that she was petite enough. She looked extremely delicate, making people want to protect her. When she came out, her face was filled with bashfulness, as if she was not good at the scene. She walked out with her head lowered, not even daring to meet the gazes of the many evil spirit races. This situation caused Yun to be dumbfounded. She looked no different from a normal cultivator. If not for his appraisal eyes, which proved that she had the purest evil spirit race bloodline, he would have missed it. Such a small girl was actually a royal daughter, and she didn't have the demeanor of a royal daughter at all. She was just like a cute little sister next door. This was extremely strange. How could she have such an appearance? Perhaps she was becoming more and more like a cultivator? As long as she didn't unleash her full power, no one would be able to tell that she was from the evil spirit race. No, she has the bloodline of a cultivator. Yun wore a grave expression. The heavenly misfortune god also wore a grave expression as he looked at the royal daughter. That's right, she has the bloodline of a cultivator, and it is the bloodline of the current #1 heaven creator race. The evil emperor captured the princess of the heaven creator race and produced such a royal daughter. Her terrifying power definitely surpasses that of the evil emperor. Of course, she isn't that powerful at the moment, but her potential is limitless. If this continues, she will be a huge threat to our divine realm. Yun naturally didn't think that she posed no threat. On the contrary, he thought that she posed a very big threat. She was so young, yet she was already an intermediate heavenly god, and her potential was even more terrifying. In particular, she also had the bloodline of the heaven creator race, which was the most powerful bloodline in the divine realm. Chapter 1642. Yun felt quite shocked. He had never thought that he would be able to meet these two existences and find out what was going on. Now, it seemed like they were going to hold some kind of ceremony. If one looked closely, they would find that the evil spirit race was also constantly sizing up the empress. This meant that it was also their first time seeing the princess, so they all looked at her curiously. At that moment, the evil empress said, "Today is my daughter's first meeting with all of you, and it is also her coronation ceremony. I am very happy that all of you could come despite your busy schedules." Coronation ceremony. Yun's eyes narrowed. It seemed that she was a princess, but not a real princess. If she wanted to become the real empress, she naturally needed to have a coronation ceremony. She also needed to let many experts know that she was the empress. "Now, let my daughter say a few words to all of you." Evil emperor gestured for his daughter to say a few words. The queen stood up, as if she had mustered up a lot of courage. She raised her head and said with her young and tender face, "I, Huan Mingyue, am the future daughter of the Divine Lord. I will lead the evil spirit race to an even more dazzling future and rule this world. I hope all the elders can support me." Her voice was clear and pleasant to listen to. Her voice spread out, displaying her extraordinary strength. When Yun heard it, he almost spat it out. The content was domineering enough, but the voice wasn't right. This princess is really strange. She even wants to rule this world. Yun shook his head. "It seems that we can't let them succeed. That's for sure. If this place was ruled, it would be hell." Heavenly God Misfortune spoke with a cold expression. "It's just that we're too weak to eliminate them on our own. There are so many key experts here, but I can't make a move. Just the heretical emperor alone was enough to annihilate them, unless he allowed himself to be attacked, but that was impossible." Huan Mingyue's performance made many evil spirit races frown. The slogan was not bad, but it did not look very domineering, especially when the bloodline was not pure evil spirit race, but mixed with other races. It made them feel very unhappy. "Lord Evil Emperor, this bloodline doesn't seem too pure, does it? For a long time, the Empress has been based on the pure bloodline of our clan. It doesn't seem reasonable now, does it?" One of the elders stood up and questioned. "That's true, but this is the bloodline of the heaven creator race. If we work together, we'll be able to open up an independent dimension, one that's even more suitable for us to live in. More importantly, we'll be able to open up the barrier, the evil emperor said calmly. I don't need to explain this in detail. You should know what that means, right? By the way, it's all thanks to her that so many companions have come over recently. Open the barrier. They looked at each other. They immediately understood what was going on. The barrier had always been a pain in their hearts, and they couldn't pass through it easily. Every time he came here, it was extremely painful, and he even suffered many losses. If they could really open the barrier, it would mean that they would really be able to rule the world. The Sky Creators can control the opening of the barrier? Etienne frowned. He had not expected this. That's right. The barrier was created by them. If we possess their bloodline, we'll naturally be able to open the barrier. Heavenly God Misfortune sighed with resignation. This is why they chose the Sky Creators to reproduce. Thankfully, this Emperor's cultivation base is a little weak, and the Sky Creators haven't been able to control their power very well. Otherwise, they would have definitely fallen. Even so, they can still control a portion of their power. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to accumulate so many powerful beings so quickly. Etienne finally understood why the evil spirit tribe was so arrogant. They had already grasped some methods to make the evil spirit tribe pass through the barrier as they pleased, but they could at least mitigate the effects of the barrier and make it easier for their brethren to cross over. Aside from that, Etienne could sense a peculiar energy fluctuation emanating from her body. It was extremely faint, and it would be very difficult to detect if one didn't pay close attention. After a period of analysis, Etienne's brows furrowed. There's a peculiar ball of energy within her body. He could sense that there was a peculiar ball of energy within Huan Mingyue's body. What was peculiar about it was that it didn't fuse with the Huan Mingyue. Instead, it existed independently. There's a peculiar ball of energy within her body. Heavenly God Misfortune looked at him with a puzzled expression. You can even sense that? I can only sense a little bit. I think it's the power of the Sky Creators, but it's hidden quite well, so I can't sense it for now. Etienne was telling the truth. He could only sense a little bit of it, but it wasn't very detailed. The inspection, I wasn't omnipotent, and it couldn't detect everything unless it was further upgraded. Alternatively, he could detect it more easily by touching the Huan Mingyue. All right, no matter what, after we return, we have to report the situation here in its entirety. She already had a recording crystal, which could record everything that had happened here. She would take it to the Fector ruler when the time came. Such a major event would definitely stir up a massive commotion. This was an extremely serious matter that had to be taken seriously. That's for sure. However, it would be even better if we could capture this Huan Mingyue. Etienne stared intently at Huan Mingyue. She was a key figure, even more important than the evil emperor. The evil emperor couldn't affect the barrier, but she could. Hence, if he captured her, the evil spirit race wouldn't be able to send any reinforcements over for the time being. Capture this Huan Mingyue? The heavenly god Misfortune's eyes lit up, and he thought for a moment before replying. That's interesting. As long as I can get close to her and be alone with her, I can capture her. Get close to her and be alone with her? That seems a little difficult. Etienne's brows furrowed. How is he going to get close to her? His current status was so low, and he would definitely be blasted to smithereens if he got close to her. As for being alone with her, that seemed to be even more difficult. At this moment, a powerful voice came from the side. Since this is the Queen's coronation ceremony, I'll first offer a congratulatory gift. I hope you won't mind. An elder walked forward and took out a long sword. It was a pretty good superior grade, heavenly venerate spirit treasure, but it clearly didn't belong to him. Instead, it was a spoil of war that could only be obtained by killing someone. Since the evil spirit race was the first to give a big gift, the others would immediately follow up. All of them gave a big gift, so it was impossible for them to just say a few words of congratulations, right? Upon seeing this, Etienne's eyes lit up. I know a way to attract her attention. Chapter 1643. What is it? The heavenly god Misfortune's eyes lit up. If they could really capture her, then it would be a huge contribution. It could even be said that it would have a huge impact on the evil spirit tribe, and buy them more time. It would take them a very long time to nurture the next generation. Didn't you say you were going to find a way to get close to her? Let's start by giving her an impression of me. Tianyin smiled before walking forward. Gokai was just about to prepare the other treasures to offer when he saw Tianyin walking forward, and his expression shifted. What are you doing? Gokai thought he was going to do something and immediately rushed forward to stop him. However, Tianyin had already walked forward while yelling, I am the sea evil spirit. I am here to congratulate the Empress on her coronation and to offer a generous gift. Tianyin referred to himself as the sea evil spirit, but no one had heard of this name before. Sea evil spirit? What's that name? The heavenly god Misfortune asked. Isn't it very simple? It's a dead evil spirit, Tianyin replied with a smile. I didn't think it would mean that. How wicked. Wouldn't they be cursing themselves if they called you that? The heavenly god Misfortune chuckled. Something like that. Tianyin turned his gaze forward with a smile. At this moment, all of the evil spirit tribe cultivators around him had their eyes focused on him. Why was a heavenly venerate offering up here? Normally, it was the elders who came first. Why was it his turn to offer up an offering? However, they were a little angry, but they didn't dare to do anything. After all, they had all come up here to congratulate her. So what would it mean if they chased him away? As such, they could only look on from the sidelines. Even Gokai could only look on from below, not daring to say anything. Tianyin arrived before Huan Mingyue and took out 3 dark spirit fruits. This was definitely a great supplement for the evil spirit tribe, or for those with dark attribute constitutions. It was a treasure that could strengthen one's own constitution. Unless one's physique was strong to a heaven-defying degree, the dark spirit fruit would be quite effective. From the looks of it, most of the evil spirit race present needed it. Even if it was an Empyrean god, it would still have some effect. This was enough to show how powerful the dark spirit fruit was. Tianyin had spent a lot of money to buy these 3 dark spirit fruits from a shop. After thinking about it, he decided to give the dark spirit fruit. As for weapons and treasures, the other Empyreans could casually take them out. They had killed countless Empyreans and obtained countless Empyrean spirit treasures. The dark spirit fruit, on the other hand, was different. It was relatively rare and difficult to form, so it was a good gift. After the offerings were presented, the eyes of the many evil spirit race flashed. They never thought that Tianyin would have 3 dark spirit fruits. How could this kid have a dark spirit fruit? And most importantly, he didn't even offer it to me. That scoundrel. Gokai was filled with regret. This dark spirit fruit had some effect on him. As long as there was even a trace of effect, he didn't want to waste it. If he could strengthen it a little, he definitely wouldn't miss this dark spirit fruit. This made him remember why Tianyin's physique was so strong. It should be because he had absorbed the dark spirit fruit. Thank you. Huan Mingyue received the dark spirit fruit with an indifferent expression. She didn't show any joy. It was as if she hadn't received anything. Tianyin muttered in his heart. He didn't expect such a calm reaction. It seemed like this was no longer exciting to her. Although Huan Mingyue didn't feel anything about it, the evil emperor beside him was a little more interested in Tianyin. He didn't expect someone to give him a dark spirit fruit. This thing was quite good. After Tianyin presented the offerings, he turned around and returned to Gokai's side. What are you doing? Don't you know the order? Gokai was about to explode. It had nothing to do with him how Tianyin died. The key was not to harm him. No matter what, he was the one who brought Tianyin up here. If anything happened, he would be responsible. The order? I'm sorry. I don't know. I only know that I want to congratulate the Empress on her coronation. Tianyin was very straightforward. Gokai didn't know how to refute him. That's not the point. Do you still have the dark spirit fruit? Gokai suppressed his anger and secretly sent a message to Tianyin. No, I presented all of them. Not a single one is left, Tianyin said with a smile. Damn it, why didn't you present them to me? Gokai said angrily. You didn't say that I wanted to present them to you, did you? Tianyin looked at him and said. Gokai was about to explode. There was nothing wrong with what he said. If he didn't say that, his subordinates wouldn't present them to him. Unless he gave them a mission. That was another matter. Good. When this is over, I'll teach you a lesson. Heavenly God Gukai wanted to teach Tianyun a lesson. Tianyun's rude behavior made him feel very uncomfortable. Tianyun shrugged, indicating that he didn't care. Soon, it was Gokai's turn. First, it was the upper heavenly god's turn, and then it was the middle heavenly god's turn. Who knew that Tianyun would break the order and not provoke Gokai's anger? This humble subject Gokai. This is a generous gift. At the same time, the rude subordinate just now was this humble subject subordinate. I'm very sorry. He really admires the evil emperor and the empress too much. That's why he offended you. I hope that the evil emperor and the empress won't blame him. At the same time, I hope that the 3 dark spirit fruits will be of help to the empress. Gokai directly took the credit. Although Tianyun was a little rude, the dark spirit fruits were really good. He could see that the evil emperor and the empress were quite satisfied. Therefore, he immediately took the credit. He didn't want the fat water to flow out. So he's your subordinate. This generous gift is not bad. The evil emperor smiled and nodded. Of course it's not bad. Originally, he told me that he wanted to present a generous gift. I said that he could only present it later. Who knew that he would be so rude? Gokai shook his head and sighed. This humble subject will definitely discipline him. This kind of thing won't happen again. It's fine. I don't care about these things. The evil emperor waved his hand, indicating that he didn't mind. Thank you for your understanding, evil emperor. After handing over the generous gift, Gokai retreated. Chapter 1644. After Gokai took all the credit, he walked back in satisfaction. After returning, he turned his head and glared fiercely at Tianyun. Remember, these are all offerings from me. Do you understand? Understood, my lord. Tianyun shrugged his shoulders. The evil spirit race stole the credit of their subordinates. This was truly shameless. However, he was too lazy to say anything. Who asked his status to be so low here? As the other evil spirit races began to offer their offerings one after another, no matter what treasures they offered, Huan Mingyue's expression was indifferent. There was not much of an expression on his face. It was obvious that he was not interested in these things. She looked delicate, but now she looked cold, without any emotions. No one cared about this. After all, as the empress, it was impossible for her to smile at everyone, right? After all, an elder in front of him stood up and said with a smile, "The congratulatory gifts have been given. Now, let's continue with the banquet, the life and death battle on the martial arts arena." Our evil spirit race has always carried out the trial of blood to select even more outstanding geniuses. If you want a powerful genius to appear, you must go through the baptism of blood. Then now, send out your own guards and prove your abilities. It was finally time for this kind of martial arts competition, and it was a life and death duel. This meant that as long as they went on stage, they might die. In this match, the 3 of you go up and try your best to get a good performance. If your performance is too bad and you can't even enter the top 20, then don't come down. Gokai said to them sternly. Yes, Lord Gokai. They all nodded heavily, including Tianyun, who was at the side. Sure enough, as Tianyun thought, Tianyun suddenly asked him to join, just for this fight. However, Gokai did not expect that there would be a coronation ceremony for the Empress. There was one thing that was fixed, and that was this kind of martial arts competition. This wasn't the first time this kind of banquet was held, so the general sequence was known, especially since the martial arts competition was fixed. Your physique is very strong. I have high hopes for you. If you can make it to the top 5, I won't hold you accountable for the mistakes you've made before. I'll even reward you handsomely and train you well. Gokai said to Tianyun, fight my way into the top 5. Sir Gokai, you think too highly of me. Tianyun revealed a faint smile. Looking at Tianyun's rude attitude, Gokai was exasperated, but he didn't make a move. No matter what, you have to fight with all your might, understand? Isn't that for sure? If I didn't go all out, wouldn't I have died on the stage? Said Tianyun with a smile. You're getting more and more impudent. Veins popped on Gokai's forehead. He didn't know what Tianyun was doing. He had been refuting him since the beginning. No, I'm just stating the facts. Yun smiled. He was just casually provoking Gokai, but things were different now. He had already become the center of attention, so there was no way he would attack him. If it were before, Gokai would have dragged him down and gotten rid of him. This was the effect he wanted now. After everything was over, they would be alone together. Empyrean God Gokai definitely wanted to torture him or kill him. This would create a separate space, and the two of them would attack together to take down this guy. Although Gokai didn't kill the heavenly misfortune god, he had still captured him. If it weren't for the fact that she had some abilities, she would probably have suffered a calamity. At the same time, he also wanted to give the heavenly luck god an explanation and capture him so that the heavenly luck god could join him. Good. I hope you don't disappoint me. Gokai suppressed his anger. Very soon, they selected the powerhouses they sent out. They were all heavenly venerables, and heavenly gods wouldn't participate in this competition. There were nearly 100 heavenly venerables on stage. This was a relatively large group. If they were sent out to fight, they would be able to suppress most of the rank 4 divine realms. This was only a portion of the evil spirit race. Not all of the heavenly venerables had gathered. If all of them had gathered, the number would have increased by several times. Looks like everyone has chosen their participants. This is a life and death battle. Unless you're sent flying out of the arena, admitting defeat is invalid. The elder standing at the side of the arena said with a smile, "If you can get into the top 5, you will receive a reward from the evil emperor. This is the same as before, but the reward will be different." Many evil spirit race participants' eyes lit up. Their goal was basically to get into the top 5. If they could get in, they would receive a reward from the evil emperor. I will announce what the reward is after this is over. The reward won't disappoint you. The evil emperor sat on his throne and rested his chin on his hand as he looked over with a sinister expression. The evil emperor definitely wouldn't be bad. The reward would only be good, not bad. From their expressions, Etianyan knew that the reward would definitely be amazing. Soon, they all entered the arena, and the battles were in full swing, reaching a white-hot state. They were really going all out for the top 5. They used all kinds of techniques, and all of them were fatal. They didn't seem like they were from the same race at all. Instead, they seemed like they were foreign races or enemies. It really is a life and death battle. The evil spirit race really admires this method. Etianyan frowned. He didn't like this kind of life and death battle. Although it could temper them and be more effective than a normal duel, the loser might very well die. This way, the number of talents wasted would increase greatly. However, the evil spirit race was different. What they needed was this kind of baptism in blood. What about you? Are you planning to get into the top 5? The heavenly doom god asked. No, not into the top 5. I'm going to take first place. Etianyan looked up with an intense gaze. And I'm not going to let a single one of them go. I'm going to kill all of them if I can. Take first place? The heavenly doom god was shocked. Isn't that a little difficult? Your evil spirit puppet looks quite good, but it's still going to be quite difficult. The evil spirit puppet was only at the upper heavenly venerate initial stage, so there was still a significant gap between it and the other heavenly venerates at the pinnacle of the upper heavenly venerate level. I have you, don't I? If I release some of my aura of misfortune, they'll be a little more unlucky. Etianyan looked at the heavenly doom god with a smile. I almost forgot. The heavenly doom god's eyes lit up. Then let's work together happily. Of course. Chapter 16:45. After one battle after another, casualties soon began to appear, and the battle was extremely tragic. Even the winner would be seriously injured. As for the loser, needless to say, he would die a very miserable death. They unleashed all of their powers, and even used their awakening crystals. Awakening crystals weren't very rare here. Normally, heavenly venerables and above would have 1 or 2, which could allow them to completely unleash their power. Some of them had only just entered the arena, but they immediately awakened their bloodline power. They were really going all out. Do they all have to rely on these awakening crystals to awaken? Etianyan looked at all of them using awakening crystals. and it looked like they were quite powerful. Rather than awakening crystals, they should be called resistance crystals. They don't belong to this world, so when they came here, their power was suppressed, and they couldn't easily unleash it. That's why they need awakening crystals to form resistance on the surface, Heavenly God Misfortune explained. So that's how it is? Yun didn't know about this, so they had probably only discovered this recently. Soon, it was Yun's turn. He had only just entered the arena, but his opponent immediately activated his awakening power just like the other evil spirit tribe members. Even though his cultivation base was a level higher than Yun's, he still activated his awakening power without any hesitation. 10 arms and a pair of wings immediately appeared on his body, giving him a very sinister appearance. In particular, his terrifyingly handsome face made Yun want to beat him up even more. Before his awakening, he was either very ordinary or very ugly, but after his awakening, he had undergone an earth-shattering transformation. Die! His opponent didn't say much to him before immediately charging over. He unleashed all of his heavenly venerate spirit treasures in an attempt to kill him in one strike. Yun couldn't awaken his power, nor did he have an awakening crystal, so he couldn't awaken his own power like his opponent. However, that wasn't important. Heavenly God Misfortune immediately unleashed an invisible power of misfortune. This power was very difficult to detect, so he wasn't afraid of being discovered by the evil emperor. After unleashing the power of misfortune, it immediately enveloped his opponent. When his opponent was attacking him fiercely, he suddenly swung his weapon. It circled in midair and actually cut his arm. As they had all used their full strength, the weapon had directly cut off several of his arms. For a moment, all the evil spirit races were dumbfounded. Why did I cut myself? This was too strange. No matter how he missed, he couldn't have cut himself, right? But now, this upper-level Empyrean had cut himself. The mistake he made was just too stupid. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yun immediately turned into a ball of black light and fiercely attacked his opponent. Devour heaven and earth! One of the ultimate techniques of the evil spirit race was executed by Yun. It directly swept over and easily swallowed the head of the heavenly venerate. Successfully killed evil spirit race, late upper heavenly master, gaining 20,000 EXP 5. 000 crazy point 5. 000 sin point. Evil spirit blood, evil spirit soul, evil spirit bone. Piles of EXP popped up, and more importantly, he had obtained a lot of evil spirit race materials. This way, he could continue to upgrade the evil spirit puppet. Perfect! Yun smiled. Everything was so easy. He took advantage of the gap between the opponent and directly killed him, and then easily harvested his life. Your power of misfortune is really strong. You can easily affect a heavenly venerate. Yun couldn't help but praise. Isn't that for sure? If I can't even affect this, then I am not a heavenly god. Heavenly God Misfortune smiled and said, and let alone a heavenly venerate, I can even affect a heavenly god. This way, I can easily kill my way up. Yun was very satisfied with this result. This is the effect he wanted. It seems that it was the opponent's own mistake, not his doing. Even if he knew that it was his doing, it was his own strength, it would not be judged as cheating. What the hell, it's over just like that. That guy is too stupid. As a heavenly venerate, how can his control be so bad? Forget it. This guy is really lucky. He met such a stupid opponent and easily killed him. Why didn't I meet him? That idiot must have eaten too much just then, which is why he made such a stupid mistake. All of them were very disdainful of Yun's opponent. It would be one thing if his cultivation base was very weak, but it was far too stupid for someone with such a high cultivation base to make such a mistake. Gokai was quite satisfied with this result. Regardless of the situation, as long as Yun could continue to win, it would be beneficial to him. Following this, the battles continued, and due to the fact that they could only compete in one battle at a time, there was still some time for them to rest. However, when it was their turn next, they would have to compete in the next round, and they would not be able to continue recovering. This would not end until the first place was revealed. This meant that those who were severely injured and unable to move would either have to admit defeat or continue fighting. As such, recovery speed was very important. All of them quickly consumed all types of pills or swallowed all types of blood to recover. Tianyin didn't really care, and he pretended to recover slightly before proceeding to the next battle. The same thing happened in the next battle. Due to heavenly god misfortune's interference, his opponent made a slight mistake again. However, it was precisely such a slight mistake that brought about death. He made another mistake, and Tianyin succeeded. This made many evil spirit tribe members feel that Tianyin was really too lucky. Why did he encounter such an idiot again? The other heavenly god elders began to speculate whether Tianyin had used some strange technique to make his opponent like this. Does this brat have some kind of hidden technique? Gokai began to speculate. However, Tianyin soon used violence to shatter their thoughts. In the next battle, he didn't use heavenly god misfortune's power. Instead, he directly attacked and pummeled his opponent. In the end, Tianyin won. After all, he had many heavenly venerate spirit treasures. How could he not smash his opponent into pieces? Moreover, his physique was stronger than his opponent's. If they really fought, Tianyin would definitely have the upper hand. This victory made many evil spirit tribe members look at each other in dismay. They had thought that their opponent was stupid this time. Who would have thought that Tianyin would win with his own strength? This made them look at him in a new light. He still has some strength, but he smashed a little too many heavenly venerate spirit treasures. Looks like he has killed quite a few heavenly venerates. Speaking of which, I've never seen him before. I don't know where he came from. Chapter 1646. Tianyin won 3 rounds in a row and immediately became the focus of many evil spirit races. This was the effect that Tianyin wanted. He was not afraid of being high profile. On the contrary, the more high profile he became, the better. Only then would he be able to attract the attention of the evil emperor, and even more so, attract the attention of Huan Mingyue. However, Huan Mingyue only glanced over indifferently and did not have much interest. However, thinking about it carefully, with such a huge difference in cultivation, Huan Mingyue was the true genius, and he was only here to add to the fun. Even if he got first place, he would at most be praised for his potential, but it was impossible for him to marry Huan Mingyue or something like that. Therefore, Tianyin's initial plan was to let the evil emperor think highly of him. It would be best if he could join the personal guards or something like that. Only then would he be able to get close to Huan Mingyue. At the same time, he could go deep into the enemy's ranks and find out more information. Although he had won 3 rounds in a row, he was not the most dazzling person in the entire arena. There were still many other people who were the most dazzling. There were a few evil spirit races who were extremely strong. From the very beginning, they were existences that could crush their opponents, and they did not even need to awaken. Tianyin could only be said to be a bright spot, but not the most dazzling one. If there were more than one competition, only a small number of people would pay attention to him, and not so many evil spirit races would pay attention to him. Thus, after the competition ended, the next round quickly continued. The rest of Heavenly God Gokai's guards were either dead or had failed, leaving only Tianyin behind. Not bad, you're prepared to fight your way into the top 20. Continue to work hard and fight your way into the top 5. Gokai started to get excited and even forgot about his previous anger. Right now, he only wanted Tianyin to win this round and enter the top 5. Only then would he be able to obtain rewards and win glory for him. Sir, I will work harder. It's just that I don't have many resources on hand right now, such as awakening crystals. These are basically all gone. Tianyin looked at him and said, "You don't even have awakening crystals?" Without even thinking, Gokai stuffed a few over. Take all of these crystals, and only use them when necessary. If you use them casually, it will be difficult for you to participate in the next round. After awakening, the overdraft was very severe. Previously, even if the evil spirit race won, the situation would become extremely bad. Even if they could fight in the next battle, the chances of them losing were extremely high. I'll be careful. Etianyin took the things that Gokai gave him. In any case, it would be a waste if he didn't take these things. He still didn't know if the awakening crystal would have any effect on the evil spirit puppets. As the number of battles increased, Etianyin gradually made his way into the top 10. Soon it was time for the top 5 battles. The further he went, the stronger the opponents he faced would be. Now, he was facing the extremely powerful evil spirit race. He was a late-stage upper heavenly venerable. His cultivation was strong, his bloodline was strong, and most importantly, his abilities were also strong. This battle would determine who would be in the top 5. It was an important battle. Awaken. The other party had awakened without hesitation. He hadn't awakened before, but now that he was facing Etianyin, he had awakened without hesitation. 11 arms appeared. Compared to the majority of the awakened upper-level heavenly venerables, this was an extra arm. This meant that his strength was about to step into the heavenly god level. An incomparably tyrannical aura was released from his body. A black snake coiled around his pitch-black body, looking extremely evil. You have the qualifications for me to awaken my strength to fight. You should awaken too. Otherwise, don't say that I didn't give you a chance. Emperor Suo Chao stared coldly at Etianyin. I don't need any awakening to deal with you. Etianyin shook his head. Such an arrogant action made the evil spirit race below the stage shake their heads. They felt that Etianyin was too arrogant. This was to determine the top 5, which meant that the opponents were all extremely strong. If he didn't awaken his own strength when his opponent was already very strong, then he would be too arrogant. Etianyin's cultivation was already weaker than his opponent's. Now that he was playing such a trick, wasn't he courting death? Does this guy think that his opponent will be so stupid as to cause an accident? That's right. If something happens to Emperor Suo Chao, then all the other heavenly venerates will have problems as well. It's fine. We'll just watch as he gets beaten to a pulp. This is what happens to the weak, especially the stupid. They couldn't help but burst into laughter. There was no sympathy in their hearts, only endless mockery. Idiot. What are you doing? Hurry up and awaken. Your opponent is very powerful. If you don't awaken your strength, you'll lose. Gokai quickly transmitted his voice to Etianyin, trying to get him to awaken his strength as well. In his eyes, he didn't need to get first place or top 3. Just making it into the top 5 would be enough. Furthermore, he felt that the limit for Etianyin was the top 5. Top 3 was impossible. As such, he had to unleash his full strength. It was enough for him to make it into the top 5. Etianyin turned a deaf ear to his voice transmission, still doing his own thing, completely ignoring him. Prepared to make him face the ground, Etianyin instructed the heavenly misfortune god. No problem. The heavenly misfortune god snapped her fingers. This was a piece of cake for her. Looks like you're quite confident in your own strength. Heavenly Venerate Suo Chao's voice was cold. However, you'll pay for your stupidity very soon. Boom! Heavenly Venerate Suo Chao attacked ferociously. Just like the other Heavenly Venerates, he also unleashed all sorts of Heavenly Venerate spirit treasures. Just as he was about to attack, a burst of special energy swept over. All of a sudden, the Heavenly Venerate spirit treasures that were gathering power exploded right beside him. Boom! Following a loud explosion, Heavenly Venerate Suo Chao's power instantly became chaotic. However, he quickly stabilized his body and stamped his foot on the ground. Immediately afterward, his foot suddenly slipped, and he fell backward. The moment he fell, a black shadow had already flashed to his side, waved a hard fist, and smashed it on his head. Boom! Another loud explosion erupted, and Heavenly Venerate Suo Chao's head was smashed into the ground, turning into a pile of minced meat. Such a cowardly way of dying appeared before the eyes of the evil spirit tribe once again. First, he had lost control, causing his energy to dissipate and explode. Thankfully, his foundation was quite good, and he was able to immediately stabilize the impact of this power. However, his foot had slipped, and upon closer inspection, he had still stepped on the Heavenly Venerate spirit treasure that had been blasted away. The impact of this explosion made him unable to stabilize his body. allowing Yun to succeed. An instant kill. It was as if everything was within his expectations. All the evil spirit tribe beings were dumbfounded. They had thought that Heavenly Venerate Suo Chao wouldn't be stupid, but who would have thought that he would still be stupid and die, just like the other Heavenly Venerates? Chapter 1647. All right. Gokai was startled at first. Then he clapped his hands and cheered. No matter what move Yun used to win, it was still considered his strength. He had thought that Yun would lose, but who knew that he would actually win this round? This meant that he had entered the top 5. Regardless of whether he won or lost, it would not be a problem to enter the top 5. What the hell? There's a problem even like this? Did this Emperor Suo Chao eat something wrong? Or did he have a problem with his control over his power? Why did it suddenly explode? That's right, it's probably because he used too little of his awakening power that he didn't control it well. I'm really envious of that kid. He won another round like this. I thought it would be a dangerous match, but now he won it so easily. What a joke. They were envious, jealous, and hateful of Yun. He easily entered the top 5. How could they not feel envious and jealous? If it were any other opponent, they would probably be crushed by Emperor Suo Chao. Facing the envious gazes of the evil spirit race, Yun ignored them and directly walked down, returning to Gokai's side. Hurry up and admit defeat? Understand? Gokai immediately said with a sound transmission. Hurry up and admit defeat? Yun was startled, but he immediately understood what Gokai meant. Gokai was afraid that he would be killed, so he immediately asked him to admit defeat. If he died, even second place would be useless. If he died, what was the point of talking about ranking? That's right, if you continue, you will be in even more danger. If you can enter a higher ranking, of course I will be very happy, but for your safety, it's better to admit defeat quickly. Gokai advised, even if I'm not first place, my current ranking is enough to receive a reward. Lord Gokai, I strongly disagree with this. If I want to do it, then do it to the best. I don't want to be at the bottom, Yun retorted. But if you die, you'll have nothing. Gokai gritted his teeth. He really wanted to slap Yun to death. No matter what he said, Yun wouldn't listen. This was what gave him the biggest headache. If it were any other subordinate, even if it was a heavenly venerable, they would want to flatten him. Right now, Yun was the key person who decided his reputation. How could he dare to act recklessly? Are you so sure that I will die? Yun asked calmly. This is better to be safe than sorry. There were quite a few who were very strong, and some of them were even close to stepping into the heavenly god realm. For the sake of this challenge, they even suppressed their cultivation to the upper level, heavenly venerable level. If it weren't for the sake of participating in this competition, they would have broken through to the heavenly god realm long ago. With your cultivation base, do you think you can win against a heavenly god? Gokai was about to explode from anger. No matter what he said, he wouldn't listen to him. How could he not be angry? There's such a situation? Yun raised his eyes to look at the remaining participants. Those were indeed very strong. Compared to most late-stage upper-level heavenly venerable powerhouses, they were a notch stronger. He thought that they were very strong to begin with. It turned out that in order to participate in this competition, they deliberately suppressed their cultivation base to this level. After this matter was over, they would probably all have broken through. This was too sinister. It was basically equivalent to facing a heavenly god. That's right. I'm doing this for your own good. It's also for my own good. Understand? Gokai felt very vexed. If he had signed a slave contract with Yun before, so many things wouldn't have happened. Instead, it was him who needed help from Yun. Naturally, he wouldn't say that he wanted to sign a slave contract here. All right, I'll see to it, Yun said indifferently. Yun didn't care about Gokai's words. He would definitely do things according to his own plan. Veins popped on Gokai's forehead when he saw Yun's attitude. However, he could only endure it. With so many people watching, he couldn't make a move even if he wanted to. No matter how talented his subordinates were, if they didn't listen to him, he wouldn't keep them around. Damn it. I hope they don't disappoint me. Gokai gritted his teeth. Soon, the results of the competition were out, and the remaining rankings were revealed one after another. Finally, it was Tianyun's turn to compete again. He faced one of the powerful beings who wanted to break through to the heavenly god level. He stood in front of Tianyun with an indifferent expression. I don't know what kind of strange technique you're using, but all your schemes and tricks are useless before me. Heavenly Venerate Zwolong clenched his fists, and dark power gathered in his palms. In the next instant, he took the initiative to attack Tianyun. Heavenly Misfortune God. Same as before, Tianyun couldn't be bothered with this Heavenly Venerate Zwolong. In any case, he just had to throw a bunch of power of misfortune at him. Heavenly Misfortune God immediately unleashed the power of misfortune, but it was repelled by Heavenly Venerate Zwolong. It was completely useless. It's useless? Heavenly Misfortune God was shocked. This Heavenly Venerate Zwolong situation is very unusual. He seems to have a constitution that can resist the power of misfortune. Everyone's situation was different. Some people could resist certain types of misfortune, and Heavenly Venerate Zwolong was one of them. It's useless. Tianyun was taken aback. He thought he would be able to deal with it easily like before, but it looked like things weren't going to be that easy. He then smiled. If it's useless, then I'll use my fist to deal with it. Immediately afterward, Tianyun threw himself at Heavenly Venerate Zwolong. He wanted to use his powerful physique to take on Heavenly Venerate Zwolong. Boom. After the first clash, Tianyun was sent flying, and a large part of his powerful physique caved in. In contrast, Heavenly Venerate Zwolong was completely unscathed. He had completely crushed Tianyun. Is that all you've got? Then I'm really disappointed. Heavenly Venerate Zwolong looked at Tianyun with disdain. He had thought that Tianyun would be able to put up a fight against him, but it looked like Tianyun wouldn't be able to last more than a few moves. The difference in strength is indeed too big. It's really difficult to make up for it with just this body. Tianyun shook his head. If this continued, he would definitely lose. His opponent was so powerful. If he couldn't rely on the power of misfortune, it would be really difficult to make up for this gap. There were only two ways to make up for this gap. The first was to use the Evil Spirit's Pearl, and the second was to use the Awakening Crystal. If he used the Evil Spirit's Pearl now, he would expose his strength too quickly. Thus, he had to use the Awakening Crystal. Awaken. Tianyun took out the Awakening Crystal and stuffed it into his mouth. Then, the bloodline power in his body began to be released crazily. Boom! A pair of wings sprouted from his back, and 10 thick arms grew out. His aura surged wildly. It seemed that even evil spirit puppets could be awakened. Chapter 1648. After Tianyun had awakened, Celestial Master Zwolong hadn't. In his opinion, even if Tianyun had awakened his power, it wouldn't pose too much pressure to him. In the end, you still awakened your bloodline? I thought you wouldn't awaken it, but with this little bit of power, the difference is still too big. Celestial Master Zwolong snorted coldly and attacked Tianyun fiercely. Tianyun was familiarizing himself with this feeling. He had to admit that after awakening, his combat power had increased a lot. He was originally at the early stage upper-level Celestial Master level, but after the eruption, his overall combat power had reached the mid-stage level. It could be said that he had forcibly risen a level, and this increase was still very strong. Adding on other powers, his overall strength was close to the late-stage upper-level Celestial Master level. However, compared to his opponent, there was still a gap. Give me the fusion materials. Tianyun began to crazily smash the evil spirit blood, evil spirit bones, and so on, in order to increase the cultivation of the evil spirit puppet. If he didn't increase his cultivation, then it would naturally be difficult for him to deal with Celestial Master Zwolong. He didn't want to lose here. Ding! Evil Spirit Puppet has successfully increased to the mid-stage upper-level Celestial Master level. After increasing a level, Celestial Master Zwolong attacked. He never waited for his opponent to take the initiative, but took the initiative himself. Boom! The two clashed again. After a violent tremor, Both of them were sent flying. It was just that Etion was in a more difficult situation, and Celestial Masters Wulong was in a better situation. However, it seemed that there wasn't much of a gap between the two. It was basically a draw. Even if Celestial Master Wulong won later, he would have to fight many times and exhaust his own energy before he could win against Etion. Such strong power. How did it increase so much? Celestial Masters Wulong was stunned. He was clearly weaker than him before. According to his calculations, even if he awakened his bloodline, there would still be a gap. Awakening wasn't invincible. There was a limit to how much it could increase. It couldn't increase endlessly. Thus, everything was within his expectations. Who would have thought that everything would be out of his expectations? The power that erupted was actually on par with his own. So strong. Etion felt like his ghoul puppet's body was being torn apart. His opponent was too strong, an existence that was infinitely close to becoming a heavenly god. How could he not be strong? The previous opponents could be easily killed, but the difficulty of the current opponents was too high. It seemed that it would be quite difficult to kill them. Both felt that the other was very strong, especially Celestial Masters Wulong, who was the most shocked. If he had not awakened, he would not have been able to deal with Etion. However, if it were to awaken, then his battle prowess would decrease in the next round. Most of the time, it wasn't that they didn't want to awaken, but that after awakening, their bodies would suffer serious damage, and their advantage in the next round would be small. At present, no one could completely recover after using the awakening crystal. It would be great if they could recover even half of it. However, if the opponent had not awakened it before, then the effect would be different after awakening it. Victory was basically assured, so they were reluctant to awaken their bloodlines. Now, Celestial Masters Wulong did not want to awaken his bloodline. If he had awakened his bloodline, he would have done so long ago. Now that they were locked in a stalemate, if this continued, he would be the one at a disadvantage. Is he going to awaken his bloodline? Celestial Masters Wulong stared angrily at Etion. He had originally planned to awaken his bloodline in the next round. If he did not use it now, then he could only win this round with great difficulty. If it was very difficult to win, then he might as well unleash his strongest power and kill his opponent as fast as possible. That was the best way. He did not hesitate for too long. He immediately took out the awakening crystal, swallowed it, and unleashed his strongest power. Boom! Celestial Masters Wulong was already very strong, and after using the awakening crystal, he became even stronger. This sea ghoul puppet is finished. It even stimulated Celestial Masters Wulong's awakening. He won by using skills, but he won't be able to fight to the end. Isn't that necessary? Without strength, everything is empty talk. He was lucky to be able to fight his way into the top 5. In the end, luck is useless. He has to rely on his own strength. Everyone thought that Etion would lose without a doubt. Previously, he had relied on a bit of luck. Now that Celestial Masters Wulong was so heaven-defying and his aura was extremely stable, how could he repeat the situation of his previous opponents? Hurry up and escape. When Gokai saw Celestial Master Wulong unleash his full power, he had a premonition that something was wrong. If this continued, Etion might die. Etion did not hear the cries in his heart. Instead, he continued to stand firmly in place, watching Celestial Master Wulong rush over with cold eyes. Now that things have come to this, I can only mobilize the power of the Evil Spirit's Pearl. He could not use misfortune to deal with Celestial Masters Wulong, nor could he rely on his current strength to resist. He could only choose to mobilize the Evil Spirit's Pearl. Immediately, he began to mobilize the power of the Evil Spirit's Pearl. With just a slight movement, the power of evil spirits and the Evil Spirit's Pearl rapidly filled his body. Whoa! He felt the Evil Spirit puppet's body shake violently. Then, an extremely evil power was released from its body. In the next moment, the wings on its back suddenly multiplied to 4, and the 10 arms suddenly increased to 12. This was an effect that only a sky celestial could produce, but it had now appeared on a celestial master. Boom! The terrifying power of the evil spirit's pearl pressed down on Celestial Master's Wulong, causing the left dragon's legs to weaken. He actually knelt in front of Tianyun. Celestial Master's Wulong was shocked. In the face of this power, he had actually developed a mentality of submission. By the time he reacted and quickly got up from the ground, a black light had already filled his eyes. Die! An extremely fast and violent kick came over, bursting Celestial Master Wulong's head. It was almost a one-hit kill. He had killed Celestial Master Wulong in an instant. Tianyun's enhanced power was very strong, but it was definitely not strong enough to kill Celestial Master Wulong in an instant. The key was that when Celestial Master Wulong felt the power of the evil spirit's pearl, he had an urge to kneel down and worship it from the bottom of his heart, allowing Tianyun's sneak attack to succeed. After the instant kill, the entire place was eerily silent. Upon closer inspection, the surrounding sky celestial elders, including the evil emperor, all stood up in shock. They had actually felt the power of the evil spirits from Tianyun, which made them feel very incredulous. Chapter 1649. The Aura of the Evil Spirits. I sense the aura of the evil spirits from him. How is this possible? He has the aura of the evil spirits. Is he a descendant of the evil spirits? This is possible. This is the only possibility. Many elders were shocked. They felt that Tianyun was a descendant of the evil spirits. Otherwise, he wouldn't have the aura of the evil spirits. As for the evil spirit's pearl, they didn't think about it. The main thing was that they didn't sense it, so they didn't think too much about it. Although the aura of the evil spirit puppet was exactly the same as that of the evil spirit tribe, it was still a puppet. For example, the evil spirit tribe couldn't cut off their essence blood or essence energy. Cutting it off was equivalent to cutting off their own blood. How could they survive then? The evil spirit puppet was different. It could cut off whatever it wanted, stop bleeding if it didn't want to, or stop beating if it didn't want to. Therefore, it could control many things. The evil spirit's pearl could completely suppress it and not let it release any aura. Thus, it could easily suppress the effect. No one would feel the aura of the evil spirit's pearl inside. If not for Tianyun releasing some aura, the affected domain lord wouldn't have been able to sense the evil spirit's pearl's aura. Therefore, the evil spirit puppet was definitely the best body to hide the evil spirit's pearl. Most importantly, it could be used perfectly. There were almost no side effects. When he released his power, he felt as if the evil spirit puppet had been activated to its strongest effect. Its power was greatly increased. It didn't consume any essence blood. The only thing it consumed was the energy in its body. This was the difference between the user. Normal cultivators would extract essence blood, but the evil spirit puppet didn't have this problem. It could also use its power to the fullest. Looking at their shocked expressions, Tianyun knew that it would have this effect. To them, the evil spirits were a god, a supreme god. They absolutely worshipped him. Of course, he didn't dare to act recklessly before he was forced to. God knew what they were thinking. If Evil Emperor was in control of everything and did not want this to happen, or if Evil Emperor had seen through him, then Tianyun believed that it was hard to see through him, but it didn't mean that it was impossible to see through him. No one could guarantee that. Now, it seemed that there was no problem. See, evil spirit, where are you from? The evil emperor looked at him with a serious expression. Your Majesty, I don't know. I was born single, and I don't know where I came from. Tianyun answered simply and crudely. Then can you release that power again? Evil emperor asked. Sure. Tianyun released the power of the evil spirits again, but only slightly. He didn't dare to release too much at once. Not only would it be easy to expose himself, but a lot of his energy would also be drained. After releasing it once more, the elders exchanged glances with one another and could see the astonishment in each other's eyes. This is really the power of evil spirits. He's probably the descendant of evil spirits. That's right. This familiar energy is undoubtedly the descendant of evil spirits. That's great. Lord Evil Spirits still has descendants. They were all surprised. They didn't expect there to be a descendant of evil spirits. They had all witnessed the strength of evil spirits, and if there were descendants here, they would undoubtedly be able to greatly increase their strength. The descendant of evil spirits. Gokai was dumbfounded, looking at the scene in front of him, dumbfounded. Suddenly, he remembered how he treated Tianyun, and his heart couldn't help but tremble. If Tianyun blamed him, he would be finished. Even though his cultivation was not weak, bloodline and status were the most important thing here. There was no doubt that the evil spirit's status was higher than the evil emperor's. As for the descendant of evil spirits, no matter what, they were on the same level as the empress. In this kind of situation, if they pursued the matter, wouldn't he be dead meat? This really is the power of evil spirits. The evil emperor quickly flew over, grabbed Tianyun's arm, and then quickly checked Tianyun's body. After circling around, he said doubtfully, "Strange, I can't find any problems with the bloodline." Tianyun could be said to be holding his breath. A super strong upper celestial god had grabbed him. If they really fought, he would not be able to break free. "I'm not too sure about that." Tianyun could only deny it. The evil emperor slowly withdrew his hand, shook his head, and said, "It seems that the power of evil spirits can only be released in battle. Normally, it can't be detected, but only the bloodline of evil spirits can have this kind of deterrence." That's right, if he really is the descendant of Lord Evil Spirits, then we have to nurture him well. Otherwise, when Lord Evil Spirits unseals and finds out that his descendant is not being nurtured, he will definitely be furious. Yes, I didn't expect to see the descendant of Lord Evil Spirits in this competition. This is really incredible. This is really a double blessing. Not only did we get a princess, but we also met the descendant of Lord Evil Spirits. Yeah, it's really a double blessing. Congratulations. For a moment, all the elders showed happy expressions. To be able to encounter such a thing, how could they not be happy? Fortunately, Tianyun was fine, otherwise they would be dead. Indeed, it is a double blessing. The evil emperor looked at Tianyun, nodded, and said, "From now on, you will stay here. You don't need to do anything else." Then, he turned to look at Gokai and asked, "Does Gokai have any objections?" No objections at all. Gokai quickly waved his hand, not daring to say anything. If he said no, he would probably be cut into pieces. "Yes, it's all thanks to you. Otherwise, who knows when we would be able to find the descendant of Lord Evil Spirits." The evil emperor smiled. Not at all. Not at all. It's all because of your luck, Lord Evil Spirits." Gokai's back was already drenched in cold sweat, but he did not forget to look at Tianyun, worried that Tianyun would say something bad about him. However, Tianyun's expression was calm, and he did not have any intention of doing so. "Lord Evil Emperor, do you still want to compete with me?" Tianyun asked as he looked at the Evil Spirit Race's members around him. He didn't know if the Evil Spirit Race's members were going to continue. "The competition still needs to continue, but you don't need to compete anymore. Come sit with me and watch." The Evil Emperor smiled and said, "By the way, don't call me Lord Evil Emperor. Just call me Uncle Evil Emperor." "Yes, Uncle Evil Emperor." Tianyun was speechless. This change in treatment was really big, from the initial competitors to the relatives of the Emperor. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.